Bingo. And right after the game, Mike Vrabel really not even asked. All TD asked was, is this the hardest time you've had as head coach of the Titans? And Vrabel, out of nowhere, just basically calls the team lazy, or at least certain members of it. Here's, for your memory, what Mike Vrabel said on Saturday.
You know, I mean, you hear, man, I hate losing. I hate losing too. So maybe we should love preparing and love focusing before the game and doing as much as we possibly can so that we don't make mistakes in critical times or mental errors, things that could be avoided.
When you say maybe we should love preparing and doing the things before the game, are you saying that you may not have 100% buy-in?
Well, it's not the buy-in. It's just, you know, how much are we doing outside of the time that we're at the facility? I don't know. You know what I mean? Those are questions that, you know, if they just, you know, if you as a professional athlete just work 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30, and I don't know how much you get out of it. You know, maybe God gifted you with some really, really cool talents. You know, we just have to, you know, all do a little bit more. And that's with me and the preparation, and that's with the coaches and the players, and, you know, just a little bit more of everything.
Mike Vrabel calls the team out, basically calls them lazy when he says, you know, we just got a bunch of guys who are 8 to 4. That was the gist of what he said. And he said it on Saturday after the game. And what have we learned about after the game with Mike Vrabel, Caroline?
That is when he is his most honest.
There you go. That is when you get the truth out of Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel yesterday asked about his 8 to 4 comments. Here's what he said.
When you talk 8 to 4, 8 to 4:30 guys on Saturday, were you talking to some specific guys, or were you talking kind of thematically about everybody giving?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, I guess I just have to be more careful with how I choose my words. I just was trying to say that we all need to, you know, to say less and just try to start doing more right now, and just, you know, studying more, you know, communicating more, asking more questions, you know, coaching better, explaining, teaching better, you know, so that players can come back with questions and say, hey, I saw this. How would we, you know, play that? Or, you know, I wasn't, you know, I'm not spreading a message to the media that I haven't said to the players at any point in time. It's not how I want to coach. So that's all that was. That was just, you know, just explaining that. I think, you know, again, building off that, how much better can we get physically at this point in the season? Where can we try to find an edge to help us win?
Okay. Do you buy that?
No. No, absolutely not. One, because I know that's when Vrabel is his most honest. And also, I almost feel like he dug himself in even a deeper hole, saying, we got to say less and do more. Well, what the heck does that mean, Mike?
Mm-hmm. I will say this. Yesterday, after I heard the initial quote on Saturday, when I heard it, I thought, he hates this team. Like, that was the one thing that I thought. It's, you know how we hear about times where the coach loses the players? I think the players have lost the coach. I do not think that Vrabel's in on these guys. I think he hates them. I think he hates the roster. I think he hates the team. And I think it would be an accident if we were to not believe that Vrabel had some sort of doing in the ousting of John Robinson, whether it was just by saying, you know, hey, what am I supposed to do with these players? They all stink. I don't know. I think he hates the team. Then when I heard the backtrack, that honestly made me think that what he said Saturday was more true than his sorry-ass explanation that he just tried to come up with. I'm not even sure I followed that explanation, right? Like the explanation.
I think that he was walking around in circles trying to make whatever he said on Saturday sound better. Like, we just have to do what's best for the team so we can win games. But I think he truly believes it. When he said, you know, I need to be more careful with my words, and then says something that I don't think was very careful with his words, and say less and do more, I think he fully believes it. And you know who I will never call 8 to 4:30 kind of guys? You and Ian, because I know that you work overtime. I know that you both work your butts off. I know that you always do what's best for the show, and I hope that I do the same. So I don't think Mike Vrabel is calling out guys and calling them 8 to 4:30 guys, and that they aren't doing enough to help this team if that's not truly what the case is.
I mean, I think this is what I mean, take the Byards and the Henrys and the Simmons and those guys that we know that Vrabel likes, take them out of it. I think there is a part of this roster that he hates. Like there is, and I don't know who it is, but I think there is a subset of these players that he cannot stand. And I think their laziness is probably part of it. And I'm sure they've had a lot of talks behind the scenes about guys being lazy. And I don't know who he's talking about. But when I heard that explanation that he put out there yesterday, that long-worded, long-winded, just about how we need to try to find the edge on these guys, I thought to myself, is this what you planned? Like, is this, you knew you were going to get asked about the 8 to 4 comment because it was just so shocking to hear that come from a coach. Chris Sanders was mad about those comments again. You know, he was mad about Vrabel calling out Petit Ferrer basically on the coaches show last week, and then he was mad about this. And so he knew he was going to get asked about it. He got asked about it. He starts off with the, I need to choose my words more carefully, which means that he's obviously thought about what he said, or somebody has brought it to his attention about what he said. But then he just rambles on with some word salad that barely even makes sense, right? It's just, hey, you know, we all need to do more around here. We all need to be more dedicated. We all need to be, and it's nothing that I, you know, haven't said to the players. I wouldn't try to get my message across through the media. I don't think Vrabel was trying to get his message across through the media. I think Vrabel was pissed. And that's why Vrabel said what he said, because I think he's tired of the laziness. And I do think there's probably some laziness on this team. And then when I get mad at the laziness, I blame the coach. I'm like, you're the one who's got to make these guys not lazy. And clearly, I keep going back. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this in all my years of doing this. I've been on the radio for 10 years, and I worked in sports for 4 years in college on a team that went to the national championship game, and the next year was 14-18 and played in some kind of tournament called the WBI. So I've been through the best and the worst, and I have never seen a situation where the coach quit on the team. And that's what I feel like with Vrabel. Remember that old Tom Jackson thing in the Patriots documentary years ago about how Tom Jackson said the players hated Bill Belichick, and the Patriot players got all mad, Rodney Harrison and Brady, and they all got mad, you know, Tom Jackson doesn't know anything, and then Belichick won the Super Bowl, and Belichick is sitting down with Chris Berman and do an interview, and Tom Jackson goes to shake his hand, and Belichick says, screw you, but in a meaner way. I'm doing the opposite here. He hates this team. Vrabel hates this team. And his explanation of the comments that I could not believe came out of the head coach's mouth. I mean, this is a sports thing. Remember the Brady clips we played last week? We don't point fingers at each other. Vrabel's out there telling you that part of his team is lazy. And then his backtracking of it really didn't do much for me. In fact, he said more with what he was trying to say, and he did less because there's nothing he said that clarified anything that he said on Saturday that isn't him calling the team out for being lazy. I've never seen this before.
Oh, yeah, he completely doubled down on those comments. Like,
I think he tried to backtrack.
He tried to backtrack, but in backtracking, my interpretation was, oh my gosh, you really meant it. like that wasn't like I need to choose my words more carefully, but we got to say less and do more. Like you are literally just reiterating what you said on Saturday, but what you're trying to, disprove what you said. I mean,
do you think he hates the team?
It kind of seems like he really does, but I think another thing too is how is the team taking that? If I'm Derrick Henry, for example, and I feel like we all would agree that Derrick Henry probably works overtime, that he probably works, as hard as anybody else out there. If I'm Derrick Henry and I hear that, I say, well, I mean, your offensive coordinator took me off the field on third down. Mm-hmm. Your offensive coordinator only had me touch the ball, 23 times on Saturday? So it's not about me. I'm not working No, it's not like I'm not working hard. I'm doing everything I possibly can for this team.
So for some reason,
So
I
don't
don't
turn
think
it
it's,
around on me.
I don't think it's the Henrys and the Byards and the Simmons that he's talking about, the guys that we know he likes.
But
And
it's
so
the
I think they
message.
know that. You know what I mean? Like, I think Byard knows that that's not for him. I think Byard probably has a pretty good idea of who it's for. And yet at the same time, when the coach is saying things like, we need to be more dedicated instead of 8 to 5 around here, there's a part of me that's like, well, then you need to tell your coaches they don't need to be drinking and driving home if we're supposed to be spending every 5 seconds of our lives outside of this building thinking about football.
And that's the thing. When you talk about no front runners and no pointing fingers, and you're pointing fingers at everybody and not pointing fingers at somebody who I think should be pointed at, that's a problem. And if I'm a player, that pisses me off.
Oh, I listened to Tom Brady last night. You know, his podcast comes out every Monday, and I was listening to Brady, and you would think that the Buccaneers are headed to the Super Bowl the way he was talking. I mean, it was all like, coach, pump them up, you know. All these teams are similar. You know, every team for some reason is having a down year except for a couple. You know, we made the plays in the crunch time and and it was almost like, it's like I heard what Brady said, and I'm like, that's what Vrabel needs to be. But Vrabel can't because he hates this team. I'm convinced of it. He hates this team. Mike Vrabel has a message, though, for the players this week. We'll get to that coming up. 615-737-1025. Ian, do you think that Vrabel hates this team?
I was trying to, the team is not that much different than last year's team. From the main core players, I get a lot of the, fringe injured players and all the injuries and the turnover, but the main leaders of the team are basically the same, and so I get what you're trying to say. He's probably frustrated with, dealing with more fringe players and it's not going how he wanted it to go. But as far as the Byard and the Long Juniors and the Landrys, and I do think there's a little bit of frustration with Dupree. But other than that, I think, it's hard for me to go there completely.
So there's a little bit of a clue that we got about who he might be talking about, which raised even more eyebrows for me. We're going to get to that next. 615-737-1025, and then I promise we are to your phones. 615-737-1025. Coach Bob Shoop will be here at 3 o'clock. And I said to Coach Shoop, he was like, what topics do we want to talk? I said to Coach Shoop, I said, Willis, Downing, and where the hell this team goes from here. And so Coach Shoop will join us at 3 o'clock. He watched the tape, and hopefully he will confirm for you all what everybody on Twitter seems to get mad at me about, which is that Malik Willis stinks. And I don't know why Twitter's so mad about it, but every time I hear somebody else talk about Malik Willis, I get mad because it's like they're being too nice. I feel like I have to be the guy from American Idol that tells all the people they can't sing. It's like, it's just, he stinks. But everybody gets in there, feels one way or another about it. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Start NFL Week 17 off right with an NFL same-game parlay insurance from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your 4+ leg Thursday night parlay falls one leg short. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout. And I would say take the under on a lot of the Titans because the offense just isn't very good. And I'd probably take a little bit of the over with Tony Pollard in that running game for the Cowboys. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Just sign up with the promo code JGM if you don't already have an account. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet is $25 and restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like waterfront property, more like a mosquito farm. Pride of ownership, they're really proud of the DIY job they did. Seller says sell. Really? I thought they just put it on the market for fun. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says don't let this one pass you by, it's probably on wheels. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Throughout the country, buried pipelines are indicated by a pipeline right-of-way. A long, wide stretch of grass cleared of trees and marked with signs. If you have a right-of-way near your home, do not plant anything in it or dig in it. Do not install a fence or build your kids a super cool fort without first getting the pipeline operator's approval. For more on pipeline safety, visit pipesafety.org. A message from the Tennessee Gas Association, Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You kind of know Malik, I guess, for your kind of upbeat personality. I mean, how important is it now maybe to inspire others to keep people from being down, during a 5-game losing streak?
I mean, dude, it's football. I mean, you woke up this morning, I woke up this morning, so I'm just as happy as I would have been if we'd have won, Yeah, it's unfortunate and it sucks that we lost, but, I mean, we have an opportunity to wake up tomorrow, learn from it, and get better, and we still have everything we want in front of us. I mean, you could be a Debbie Downer about it. I mean, that's your perspective, but, I mean, we're blessed, bro. We still got everything we could want, and we have an opportunity to learn from something. I mean, it might be even better than going out there and doing what we wanted to today.
There you go. It's just football. 5-game losing streak. Nothing big there. So Mike Vrabel says after the game they got too many 8-4 guys. Vrabel tries to walk it back yesterday with a half-hearted excuse, explanation, whatever you want to call it, but it really didn't clarify anything, and it wasn't very convincing. It actually reminded me a lot of last year when Mike Vrabel said after the Bengals game, as long as I'm the coach, which is going to be a while, and then people asked him about, oh, no, it's nothing. It's just, I just love being here and love Amy and love the team and love the city. And then about 2 weeks later, it came out that he signed a contract extension. Kind of felt pretty similar to that. Angry Vrabel tells you how he really feels, and then sober Vrabel tells you, I probably shouldn't have said that. But TD, good job by TD, because we're trying to figure out who Vrabel's talking to. TD asked Jeffrey Simmons after the game about Vrabel's comments, and I think Simmons maybe gave us a clue to who Vrabel's talking about.
You mentioned the consistency within the building. Coach Vrabel had mentioned how everyone may need to put in a little bit more, and he went with outside of the building. When you hear that, what do you think when you hear that?
Preparation, it's not all about, watching film in the room, and it's all about taking care of your body in the room, your nutrition, your sleep. All that stuff come in play when we're talking about football because recovery is a big key. And the mental, when you go home or you're watching film or you're doing extra study and things in that nature, because quite frankly, we do have a lot of young guys playing for us. What are we doing outside of the building to prepare to playing these games? Because it's not going to get any easier.
Oh, Simmons baby. If Simmons didn't like what Vrabel had said about having a bunch of 8-4 guys or not doing enough outside the building, it would have been something like, I'm doing my part, but it wasn't. It was, we got a bunch of young guys on this team. And there was a comment Vrabel made yesterday, and I should have cut it. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't. He was asked about Jack Gibbons, the linebacker that he loves, who is
loves him.
Too small and too slow to play in the NFL, but he loves him. And Vrabel made a comment about Gibbons and said, that other people could learn from example of Gibbons. And I wonder, do we think Vrabel, when it comes to who he doesn't like or who he's trying to send a message to, and Simmons says it's the young guys, I'm thinking about Malik. I'm thinking about Chigakonkwo. I'm thinking about Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. I'm thinking about Monty Rice. I'm thinking about those guys that Vrabel's message might have been targeted towards. And then it goes back to kind of Malik's attitude after the game, just of like, hey, that's just football. It's nothing, it's no big deal, it's just football. And I do wonder if that's what's bothering Vrabel as much as it clearly was bothering him after the game.
Well, I think Jeffrey Simmons told us it's the young guys. And it's clearly something that bugs him too. And if it bugs Jeffrey Simmons, I can only imagine it bugs the other leaders on this team. The Henrys, the Byards, the Tannehills, so on and so forth. Look, we're the core of this team. We built this team up from what it was just a few short years ago. You have the privilege of walking into a team that won 2 straight division titles. You have the privilege of walking into a team that just competed for the AFC Championship just a couple short years ago. You have to continue to do your job and do the work. So I don't blame Jeffrey Simmons for being frustrated if that is what it is, which is kind of what it sounds like it is, that he almost kind of doubled down on Vrabel's comments. Like, yeah, you got to do stuff at home. You got to continue doing the work. You have to take care of your body. And I think there's one name that you didn't mention about one of the young guys, and that's Treylon Burks.
That's because when he got hurt, Vrabel went out of his way to go crazy about how hard Burks had worked to stay in shape and how hard Burks had worked to get back healthy. And so I give Burks a pass because Vrabel has gone out of his way. Because Vrabel about a month ago talked about how hard he works and how dedicated he was, I'm giving Burks a pass on this one.
Okay, that's fair. Because if Vrabel really truly does like a player, he'll let you know.
Oh,
yes. Aaron Brewer, tougher than a $2 steak. He'll let you know. But to that point, it does sound like it's the young guys. It does sound that the leadership, both player leaders and Mike Vrabel themselves, are frustrated with it. But my question is, whose fault is that? That sounds like a discipline issue. That sounds like a buy-in issue. And who disciplines
the easy
players?
finger to point there is the general manager that drafted these guys, right? Like if everybody you want is somebody who loves ball, and then you draft these guys and they come in here and they're 8-5ing it, and then they're out the door and they don't care, that's really a personality thing more than it is a.
But has that ever been an issue before?
I mean, it was with Isaiah Wilson. That was kind of an isolated incident. Other than that, the team's never lost 5 games in a row, so it's never come up.
And the team's culture has always been discipline and tough and work hard and
everybody together.
Goes to the grindstone.
But what's happening, though, as far as the laziness angle, is kind of what happened to the Predators, right? Like the Predators went to the Cup final in 2017. Everybody was toting the rope in the same direction. They won the President's Trophy the next year because everybody thought that if they got home ice, they were going to win the Stanley Cup. They lost in the second round, and everybody signed their contracts, and, they got lazy. That's what it was. They got lazy. And I do wonder, again, it's not – clearly Simmons is saying it's not the veteran guys here that are getting lazy, and I highly doubt it's Derrick Henry who's getting lazy, but it sounds like the young guys walked in here. And there's always a little bit – I've noticed this in sports. There is always a little bit of resentment when a team builds something up and then other people come in and act like they accomplished what the other guys built up. Michael Jordan felt that way when he came back from his retirement from baseball to basketball. Michael Jordan felt that way because he felt like Luke Longley and Steve Kerr and all the guys that weren't part of the first three-peat were acting like, we're on the Chicago Bulls, and it's like, you didn't have anything to do with that. And I think maybe there's probably a sense from the Simmons and the Byards and the Henrys of like, you guys had nothing to do with this. And so stop acting like it, because right now you're hurting us. But I did promise your phones. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. And our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. AG has been waiting patiently and is going to kick us off today. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, AG.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's the same as you said at the in the preseason, man. You was talking about how many holes you have in the roster and how the roster really isn't a well-rounded roster that we need to make a real push. And I ain't looking for Mike Vrabel to, blow smoke up it. I mean, the team is what it is. It's just not there. And I feel like it's some general managers that come in the league and within a 3 to 5 year span, they put a Super Bowl roster together. I don't know. Maybe it was the GM didn't have the right roster for this year.
AG, I appreciate you, but your phone's driving me crazy. Thank you for your call. I would say this about the idea of the roster, because I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of the complaining about this roster is so bad, and there's nothing they can do about it, and there's that. You mean you can't run the ball with Derrick Henry on 3rd and 2 against the Chargers because the roster's so bad? I mean, I hear everybody tell me how bad the roster is, and I complained. I mean, when we put our offseason program together, we wanted to give Morgan Moses $25 million to play right tackle. He ended up getting 15, so I guess we're the stupid ones, but we wanted a right tackle around here or a guard or something of that magnitude. But I think the thing I'm getting at is when people talk about bad this roster is, there's not a team in the NFL that can lose its left tackle, its starting center, its right guard, both of its inside linebackers, both of its pass rushers, its starting quarterback, its number one receiver, all the things that their $11 million safety, their number one corner, all the things that they've spent the last month without. There's not a team in the league that can lose those things and still be good. So even if Brandon Beane, who I think is the best general manager in the NFL with Buffalo, even if Brandon Beane put together a great roster and he lost all of those things, you would still have deficiencies in pass protection. You would still have – now, you shouldn't lose to the Texans, but you would still have a lot of problems. So everybody acts like, that the roster's so bad. And my big issue isn't so much with the roster itself. I thought that there were some stupid things they did. But my issue right now is they got all these injuries. And so when you see pass protection and it's bad – I mean, you have to understand that's part of the game. Like, the ball has to come out. Like, those are the things that bother me, is people that just throw their hands up and just say, this team sucks. It's like, I mean, look at how many spots are injured. And then tell yourself, okay, now you have to coach differently because of it, or you have to be okay with certain things being allowed because you've got guys in there that are backups. But that doesn't mean Derrick Henry comes off the field on 3rd and 2 and you get a free pass. And it doesn't mean that Amari Rodgers gets to run up the sideline against your number one corner and they just put it right over his head for a big completion. So I'm so tired of hearing about the roster and I'm so tired because it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I guess right there I was kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, but it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy because the reason that this team lost to the Houston Texans is not because the roster's in bad shape. And it is. But, there's no general manager that could fix all the injuries they've had. But you should still beat the Texans. And the reason you lost to the Chargers is because you took your best player off the field and you called a stupid deep pass for Racey McMath on a 2nd and 11 with Derrick Henry off the field. And I'm all worked up. I'm just rambling. But it did work me up. 615-737-1025. Did that make any sense?
I hear you. I understand. Because, this is the same roster that this team had week 1. This is the same roster that this team had when they were winning games. And sure, you've got more injuries now. You've got guys who have rotated in and out since then.
But so does everybody.
And the offensive line has been a problem since July.
How many games did you watch? How many games in which it's like they're on their 9th string guard? It's every game. Arizona played their 3rd string quarterback. I don't even know where the Buccaneers are finding these guys that are playing on their line from because they've had about 37 injuries on the offensive line. The Chargers are now just getting healthy again. I don't get it. So people are like, this roster is so bad. I'm like, Jack Gibbons is out there right now. Jack Gibbons. LaRaven Clark. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this. When LaRaven Clark went in there at right tackle on Saturday, he played better than PT did. He played a lot better than Nicholas Petit-Frere did. And that is a big concern. More of your phones. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company, 1025-1063 The Game. Caroline wants to tell you about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
Yep, it is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. Now, Caesars has tons of boosts and promos going on every single day, but your very first bet with the Caesars Sportsbook app, it's on Caesars, up to $1,250, so they've got you covered. Just sign up using the promo code RADIOFULL, one word, RADIOFULL, and then place your first bet. And if you win, that money is all yours. Congratulations. But if not, you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you're looking for something to place that first bet on, the Predators are hosting the Dallas Stars tonight. I'm going to take the Stars on the money line. I mean, the Stars are hot. The Predators are struggling offensively. I think all the momentum is in Dallas's corner. But that's my take to it. How you want to do it, just do it with the Caesars Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Most used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. We are all Caesars.
Figure out the 48 guys that we got for Thursday night.
It's a short week for the two-tone blue.
The margin for error is very thin.
Titans on 3, 1, 2, 3. As the Titans take on the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football at Nissan Stadium. Join Jared Stillman.
The Titans right now aren't blocking very well.
Chris Sanders.
Where's the explosive plays that we need? They got a lot of digging down deep to do in this game.
And Derek Mason from Sonny's in Germantown for NFL pregame at 4:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Chevrolet Buick GMC. I love this time of year. Christmas music, big meals, and maybe even a little snow. There's just something in the air. I don't know about you guys, but I have my leg lamp in the window and my moose glass for eggnog. I'm ready to kick off these holidays right. At Newton, we want to help you kick off the holidays right by helping spread the holiday spirit. And trust me, we have a lot of holiday spirit. We love helping customers find ways to surprise their loved ones with a new car. Can you imagine the look in their face Christmas morning? And if you aren't sure you're on the good list, we can put in a good word with a big guy. Don't be a Scrooge. Change your car buying experience in Newton and find out how we can help you start off the holidays with a new car. We have more new cars in stock right now than we've had any time in the past year. It's like a Christmas miracle. Kind of. Shop at NewtonChevroletBuickGMC.com to find your next car today.
It's Family Leisure's half off after Christmas sale.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discontinued merchandise.
Theater seating with two-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Hundreds of full tables in stock for immediate delivery. Slate full tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Above ground pools are all on sale with 24-foot starting at only $29.99 installed.
Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Antioch and Franklin.
Family and fun come together.
So many choices. Be careful. She is dangerously seductive. Tastes too good to be whiskey. Oil Fire Whiskey is now in Tennessee. If they don't have it, ask them to get it or go somewhere else. Oil Fire. There's nothing quite like it.
Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House invites you to join them for this year's college football bowl games and playoff action. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, or Ohio State, who will be the last one standing? Boomba's has countless big screen TVs and the biggest video wall in Nashville at their East Nashville location. So watch it all go down and enjoy their two-time award-winning Best Pizza in America, featured on the Food Network and 100% crafted for you. Wash it all down with their award-winning happy hour with $2 Boom Brews and select domestic pints. Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville, 1003 Russell Street. Pizza, beer, sports. See you there, Nashville.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Can't get enough Vanderbilt basketball?
Intercepted right all by himself for a one-hand flush.
Your home for the Commodores is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Put it up. It's good. Count it.
Join Coach Jerry Stackhouse and his team on their journey through the SEC.
Pulls a trigger. Yes, from three.
Check out Vandy Hoops on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Given that your situation is crystallized a little bit about what you have to do in Week 18 and what it could ultimately mean from everything you've gone through, what's your message to the team as they start this week?
Say less and do more. I just told you what the message was. Prepare to win. Prepare to win this week. Work the game plan today. Work the game plan on first and second down, third down tomorrow. Great opportunity for a lot of guys that continue to play for us. Look at Jordan Roos or Corey Levin or Jack Gibbons or anybody else that's had an opportunity because somebody isn't here for whatever reason. And some of those guys continue to try to take advantage of the opportunity, and then we'll just keep having to find guys that want to do that.
The message for the week: say less, do more. In fact, that was the title of the YouTube video of Vrabel's press conference yesterday. Say less, do more. One quick question. Who's saying anything to say less? Like, who on the team is talking so much that it's like, hey, you, say less and do more?
That's actually like the number one thing that bugs me about this organization is that they don't say anything. But I think if we are not looking at anyone saying you are talking too much, who's talking too much behind the scenes? Who's saying too much behind the scenes? What do we not know about somebody that's doing a whole lot of talking and not a whole lot of doing?
I don't know. The only person that I know that's saying too much and is always seeming to step in it right now is him.
Vrabel.
He's the only guy that seems to be saying things that we're like, wait a minute, what? But I did promise phone, 615-737-1025. Tom is up next on the Titans injuries. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes. Carolyn, you might remember I called about this problem 2 weeks ago, and I directed Derek, and I said everybody has blamed everybody from the owner all the way down to the coaches, and nobody has brought up the fact that our strength and conditioning coach, isn't that his job, is to make them prepared? And when I asked Derek, he said, well, everybody has their own personal strength coach, and when they come in to get ready for the season, they tell the strength coach what they want to work on. And to me, that sounds like the tail wagging the dog. The strength and conditioning coach is supposed to tell them, you need to work on this, you need to work on that, or else you're going to get injured. And I'd like your comments on that.
Tom, I appreciate your call. I mean, the strength and conditioning coach thing, like, I know people want to say it matters. I don't think it matters. I don't think the strength and conditioning coach in the NFL matters. Now, the medical staff and the trainers, that I think matters. The strength and conditioning coach, I mean, again, the strength and conditioning coach is like, hey, we want you to get one more rep. Like, that's the strength and conditioning coach's job. So I don't know the strength and conditioning coach. He could be the worst in the world. He could be the best in the world. I don't know. I think a lot of guys use their own trainers in the offseason anyways. We complained about how all those guys decided not to show up for voluntary workouts, including the quarterback, and how big of a deal that was. But I think the strength and conditioning coach, like, I don't know. When I hear a caller call in and say that, I just think about some guy sitting in front of his TV watching a guy grab his hamstring and throwing his remote and being like, their strength and conditioning coach, damn him. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that when the Titans have had more injuries than any other team in the league over the last 2 years, something's got to give. So they want to point a finger at somebody. And while the strength and conditioning coach might not be the right person to point a finger at, kind of to use the same theme that we've been going along with all day is pointing fingers, something's got to give.
Yeah, I mean, they have to evaluate
that's a
the
problem.
medical staff and everything else. Let's go to John in Nashville, who's up next. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Johnny?
Man, what's going on? Happy holidays to everybody. Listen, I'm with you, and I've listened to your show a long time. I just hate that Vrabel backwalked his comments. Everyone should be held accountable. Backup, no backup. Starter, no starter. Star, no star. Maven, anybody who's not was on the roster a month ago and now has a chance to play in the NFL to be prepping like they're a $15 to $30 million player. They, like you said earlier, they're not expecting the same productivity or performance. However, they are expecting the same preparation. And if Vrabel feels like we got a bunch of 8-4 guys and Simmons is on board, listen, these guys need to start prepping like their starters. Every team gets injured. And if you watch and follow NFL, last night I haven't even commented on the Robinson firing. They gave him an extension in February, and he's gone in October, or November, whatever it was. But I digress. However, the preparation of the guys that are playing significant minutes needs to be better. No one should give up big plays at the end of a game. To the Texans, they were 112. Anyway, I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thank you for the call. I mean, there's two thoughts on this. First off, I think if they're having preparation issues, that needs to be said behind closed doors. Somebody called in yesterday and had a kind of a similar thought of like, why should Mike Vrabel not say what he thinks if they're having preparation issues? And I'm like, because if you're having issues with your wife, those aren't things that need to be broadcast. Those are things that need to be discussed internally. And that's usually how the team should work. I also don't like the fact that what Vrabel said came from a place of frustration. And he's got to cool it with that. Like, he is the coach. And so when he goes on, every time they lose a game and he says something stupid, I mean, that is a reflection of his inability to control himself. When he's like, I need to be better with my words. You're the head freaking coach. Like, I mean, seriously, Bobby Knight. Like, you're the coach. Like, that's part of the job. That's how this works. And so, that's my kind of big issue, whether or not they're preparing. I mean, if you're telling me who's not preparing, then I'm going to say, get your lazy ass to work and figure out a way. And here's my thought on preparation. I believe that the NFL is that you can be used one of two ways. Either you can be treated like cattle, and you can be a warm body that they put out there or that gets hit in practice by the good players or whatever. Or you can set yourself up for life and set your family up for life and everything else with the opportunities that are afforded to you by football. And if you're dedicated to those and you're dedicated to winning and being part of a team, then the likelihood is that you'll be successful one way or another. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. I don't have a problem with the fact that Vrabel feels the way he feels. I have a problem with the fact that he said what he said. We'll get to your phones, 615-737-1025. Plus, I made a comment about Malik Willis yesterday, and it has maybe been challenged. We'll get to that coming up. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopus. Cool to start the morning, but the afternoon right up near the 30-degree mark. However, we have to do with a little bit of snow early in the day. That tapers off late afternoon into this evening, and then we'll stay calm for the rest of the upcoming week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
TSA is hiring full and part-time transportation security officers at Nashville International Airport. These positions start at $20.29 per hour and include excellent federal benefits, paid on-the-job training, weekend and holiday pay, a potential pay raise after 6 months, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. No previous security experience required. Join a mission that matters and apply online at jobs.tsa.gov/TSO. That's jobs.tsa.gov/TSO. Some conditions apply.
Didn't get what you wanted for Christmas? Never fear. Hi-Fi Buy's legendary after Christmas sale is here. We're grossly overstocked and need to reduce inventory now. Most items are at or slightly above dealer cost. Make an offer. Any reasonable offer accepted. Stunningly low prices on high-performance products. Even better prices on high-end display models. Don't miss out. Hi-Fi Buy's legendary after Christmas sale is on now.
Retail store only. Manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
What's up, everybody? It's Michelle Knezovic for Superbook Sports, and this is your New Year's resolution: win money in 2023 with Superbook Sports. Superbook has over 3 decades of sports wagering experience in Las Vegas, so you'll get the best odds boosts anywhere as we head into the football playoffs. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions at superbook.com. Make 2023 the year when you win money from Vegas. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app and place your bets today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects: heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexrode.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
How comfortable were you once you got out there after having a week to kind of get ready for this after?
I mean, I was fine, regardless of what you see on the stat line. I mean, stat line. If you're looking at the stat line, I mean, you can go worry about your fantasy team, not real life. So, other than that, I felt comfortable out there. I mean, we got some plays going early. Penalties deferred us. I mean, they just knocked us off what we was doing. They knocked us off our rhythm in the second half. Just turnovers. I mean, that's the way the game goes. Whoever doesn't turn the ball over, whoever gets the most completions, whoever gets the most first downs, they win the game. So.
You just said don't look at the stat line, then you recited a bunch of stats, so they were important, yeah?
I mean, you think so? I didn't recite stats. I mean, those aren't stats. Those are plays in the game. There's 3rd and 7. You know, are we going to put our defense back on the field after they just got off and have them tired trying to stop their offense who's been chilling? Or are we going to convert and just make it easier for our defense? These are moments. It's more than just a stat.
Malik Willis, who yesterday I claimed was the worst quarterback in the NFL. But last night, Nick Foles might be challenging Malik Willis for the title of worst quarterback in the NFL, which is very hard to say about a guy who's been a starter in multiple places, probably made about $100 million quarterbacking in the NFL, and is a former Super Bowl MVP. But he was terrible. Even though he threw 3 interceptions yesterday and they scored 3 points, Nick Foles did, unlike Malik, crack 100 yards. He had 143 yards passing yesterday. Caroline, we have not gotten your full breakdown of your opinion of Malik Willis. I think he's terrible. I'm over it. I'm done. I think he's the worst quarterback I have ever seen. I mean, well, that may not be true. There may be worse, but very few. I mean, I'd really have to dig into it. I think Malik's terrible. I think there's no future there. I'm not even sure he's going to be a backup. And I would be preparing for Josh Dobbs to be the starter in the Week 18 game against Jacksonville because he can't be worse than Malik. Your thoughts?
I mean, my thing with Nick Foles, yeah, he cracked 100 passing yards, but my thing with Malik is I don't want him throwing for more than 100 yards in a game. And I think that says a lot about how I feel about Malik Willis. Is that if he's throwing for 150 passing yards, that's too many for my liking because I don't trust Malik Willis with the football. And I mean, if what he does best is run the ball, great, because I think we've seen flashes of that.
Then put him in running back.
Even when Malik runs the ball, he looks apprehensive. He looks nervous doing it. Like, I'm not going to say that his career is over because I'm not going to say that. Yes.
Well,
I'm
so
not ready
Joe
to say that.
Rexrode
I'm not
today-
ready to stake my claim that Malik Willis's career is over.
I'm staking it.
But
There's
I
never
don't
been a
see
quarterback
any
that's been this
career
bad.
for him long term as a starting quarterback in this league. I just don't think he has a good enough grasp of the game.
So there are 3 guys that have started 3 games and have been as bad as Malik. Some guy I never heard of, I can't remember his name, Nathan Peterman, and Malik Willis. Like, that's it. And, I mean, guys, Malik is terrible. And I know everyone says, well, he's a rookie. I know. Rookies are normally terrible. But rookies normally have passer ratings around 75, which is where Kenny Pickett is right now, which is where Desmond Ridder is right now, which is where Bailey Zappi and Brock Purdy are at 100 in terms of their passer rating. Malik is at 42. 42. Again, Kenny Pickett is in the 70s. Desmond Ridder, who stinks, is in the 70s. And Malik is at 42. And everybody out there is like, well, this line's terrible and these receivers are bad. And Tannehill is in the 90s with the same problems, the same coordinator, the same things you don't like. Malik Willis is horrible. And then I've got Joe Rexrode this morning saying he thinks Malik has a 20% chance to be a legitimate starting quarterback in the National Football League.
No.
20%? Where do these people come up with this stuff?
What percentage would you give him of being a starting quarterback in this league?
0. What percentage would you give me of being a starting quarterback in the league?
0.
There you go. Okay.
I would
done.
give Malik a 3% chance.
No. Robbie
Yes.
went with 7.
Yes, I can say what I want to say.
3%. 3. No, he can't learn how to pass. He can't learn how to read defenses. He can't learn how to, play football. It's too far. It's too far, and he's not even accurate. It's not. He can throw it far and he can run a little bit. That's what he can do. But it's not like he's Lamar Jackson running the ball or Michael Vick running the ball. I mean, he's a good, athlete
He's mobile,
running the ball.
for sure.
But, I mean, to me, he is a running back version of Taysom Hill, but is not as good as Taysom Hill at any of the things that Taysom Hill does, if that makes any sense.
I understand.
I mean, I think Malik, I think he's horrible. I mean, I cannot say it enough. And then everybody keeps saying things like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, he's a rookie. I'm like, who cares? Davis Mills is in his 2nd year. Threw for double the yards that Malik did the other day, and they were taking him out of the game twice a series, and he threw for double the amount of yards without Derrick Henry as his running back, threw for more touchdowns, and he stinks. They've given up on him with the Texans. And he's a young guy too. I mean, man, think about this. We live in a league where Gardner Minshew, where people have given up on Gardner Minshew as a starting quarterback. And we've got people trying to tell us Malik Willis is going to be a starting quarterback. I cannot with this Malik stuff. Now, Nick
And I will
Foles,
say this, before you get to your point on Nick Foles, it's okay if Malik Willis is not the starting quarterback for this football team. It's okay if Malik Willis is not a starting quarterback in this league. He was a 3rd-round quarterback that was drafted as an experiment anyway. You don't have to force it. There's other quarterbacks out there. It doesn't have to be Malik. It's okay if he can't be a starting quarterback.
Oh, people are talking about this like he was the 3rd overall pick in the draft.
He was a 3rd-round pick. And when they were drafted, we even kind of couched it with, now he's going to need some time to develop. He didn't play in a very complex system in college. It's going to take some time. He's not going to be ready. So if he doesn't develop into a starting quarterback in this league, it's okay. No harm, no foul. He wasn't supposed to be playing this year anyway.
Now, in fairness to Willis, and to your point about, he needed time to develop, they didn't give it to him. They did not. I mean, they made him the backup. And when you're a backup in the NFL, right. I mean, when you're the backup in the NFL, it is, if somebody gets hurt, you got to play, and the stakes are whatever they are when you go in. So if it's Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs and it's overtime, you have to go in there. Well, they don't grade on a curve. The NFL's not going to say, well, they played Malik that game, so let's give him a victory. And that's what I kept stressing during training camp when I'm like, this guy is terrible. I mean, we watched him in these practices. He was awful. I mean, he had two 2-minute drills against the Arizona Cardinals. He threw an interception on one of them and then threw the ball away on 4th down. Like, threw it away on 4th down of a 2-minute drill. And you would say, well, that was practice and that was months ago. Did you see the 2-minute drill on Saturday where he's checking it down with no timeouts? He's checking it down to Haskins for a gain of 6, and Haskins is getting tackled in the middle of the field because that's where the ball is, and it's like, oh, goodness. And, you really should probably subtract it because the Texans were glad to let Malik throw the ball in the middle of the field and have guys get tackled, so he really probably threw for like 70 real yards. He's terrible, guys. He's terrible. He is what I call a COVID quarterback. He should have gone in when everybody in the quarterback room got COVID during COVID and nobody could play quarterback. That's when I think it's acceptable to play Malik Willis. But you all think that he'll develop into the next great quarterback, so we'll go from there. I also laugh, too, when people would compare him to Steve McNair. Steve McNair's like a foot taller than him and was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Ridiculous. Bob Shoop, the coach, he watched the tape. We're going to ask him, how bad was Malik? And I'm not totally, think of it more like mediation than arbitration. I'm not totally going to accept what Bob says, because if Bob says that he thinks Malik can be a starting quarterback in this league, I'm going to have a hard time accepting it. But I will defer mostly to Bob's opinion, and he will join us next, Stillman & Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The doors on the board. Touchdown at TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
Score by Master Shea.
A Gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
If you've got a yard, you may plan on digging in it. Like to build an addition, put in a pool, or bury your pirate booty. But you should know that throughout the country, there may be pipelines buried underground. And if you hit one, you've got trouble. Sorry. So before you dig, call 811 to have any buried pipelines located and marked at no charge. For more tips on pipeline safety, visit pipesafety.org. A message from the Tennessee Gas Association, Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead. The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live from Bridgestone Arena. Preds tonight against the Dallas Stars, 7 o'clock. Coach Bob Shoop is here. Coach, good to see you. Hope you had a very happy holiday.
Thank you very much, and you too.
Okay, let's get right to it. The Titans on Saturday against the Texans. Malik Willis's performance. I have nothing good to say about it. I have nothing good to say about Malik Willis's future in the NFL. I am out. I have seen enough. 3 games, he has not thrown for 100 yards in any of them. He does not have a touchdown pass in the NFL. And quite frankly, I think the argument can be made that he is getting worse as a quarterback in this league. And that interception he threw at the end of, not the Hail Mary one, which was also bad, but the one that sealed it for Houston, terrible. I think he's awful, but I said this. I will defer to your opinion unless it's so egregious that I can't agree with it. So please, what did the film say on the breakdown?
Clearly, it's a small sample size for Willis thus far, but you can't give him a passing grade. I mean, that was the Texans aren't the 85 Bears. I mean, that was the worst defense in the NFL and a great opportunity for him to do some things. So let's evaluate the performance. All right, as far as running and managing the offense, penalties early in the game for an illegal formation, not entirely on the quarterback, but quarterbacks can recognize those things. You see it all the time where a quarterback points to a guy to get a line correctly. Didn't handle that. A couple mistimed snaps. A snap that was mistimed, the left tackle and the tight end don't get out of their stance, and all of a sudden he gets sacked. 4 sacks.
So that's the quarterback's fault?
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But sure, he's managing the game, and that's part of his responsibility when he's on the field to be that guy. And that didn't happen. So I'm just, from the game management, you can't give him a passing grade because of a couple of those things right there. 4 sacks. Again, not entirely on the quarterback, but there's some things that are on the quarterback. As a runner, I think he gets a little bit of a passing grade. 7 rushes, 43 yards. The touchdown run in and of itself where he broke a couple tackles was fairly impressive. But are you paying your future quarterback to be a guy who carries the ball 7 times for 43 yards? Or are you asking him to be a true NFL quarterback? Now, did Coach Downing tailor the game plan to the strengths of the individual? They still had some of the same problems. You had holding calls, tackles for loss. The Texans' D-line was disrupted. There's a lot of 2nd and long, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20s, and I don't think that's Malik Willis' strength. I don't think it's any quarterback's strength. 14 for 25 passing, 99 yards. When you throw 25 passes and have a total of 99 yards passing, that's less than 4 yards. That's going to be a poor quarterback rating. That's not the game. The ball clearly wasn't pushed down the field. Once again, it was the same story for the receivers. The receivers had 6 combined catches for 53 yards. I said before, I coached against Malik when he was at Auburn. He was Jared Stidham's backup. When I viewed him going into the game, we kind of thought he was kind of I called it a novelty quarterback. He was a specialty quarterback. Maybe had a little package for him. They somewhat used him as a wildcat. They got into unbalanced formation, snapped him the ball, and he did some running. He actually fumbled the ball when we played him at Mississippi State. He went to, obviously transferred to Liberty, and I've always said that a little bit, and I respect Coach Freeze tremendously because I've coached against him. His offenses are special. I don't know that's a great quarterback developing offense. Name a great quarterback who's gone on to great success in the NFL coming out of that spread, no huddle, tempo, everything kind of spoon-fed to your offense. Is it Bo Wallace? I don't think so. Chad Kelly, he's in the CFL, and Malik, those type of guys. I don't know that they have a lot of success. So, you brought it up in the last segment. Bailey Zappi picked 52 snaps after him. I think Brock Purdy picked 176 picks after him right there. those guys have demonstrated more in a short sample size than Malik Willis, and I have the same concerns that you do about his future. If I'm putting the franchise and saying this is the future of the Tennessee Titans, I'm probably back in the quarterback business again.
How much of Malik's problems are organizational infrastructure, where Brock Purdy goes in, great scheme with the play caller, great receivers, George Kittle at tight end, McCaffrey at running back, maybe the best left tackle in the NFL. Malik goes in there, backup offensive line, bad receivers. Now he's got Derrick Henry, and I would say a bad play caller.
I think, a couple times there were some great examples. The touchdown run in and of itself, they ran a gap scheme play, a counter play where he pulled the ball because he read the defensive end, made a guy miss and did some good things. Even on the original, there were 2 2-minute drills at the end of the game. The first handful of plays in that first 2-minute drill were zone reads with Derrick Henry where he kept the ball and made some yards. When he did those things, he made some yards. But tradition and history and demonstrate to us that those aren't the quarterbacks that are going to win Super Bowls in the NFL. There's been a handful of guys who have been able to had a little bit of success doing those type of things, and I don't see him having the skill set of a Michael Vick, a Robert RG3, those type of guys right there. He's not in those categories right now, and he has a long way to go. I like what you said before. I mean, we talked off the air about, to me, this was a redshirt year for him, and he's been thrown into the. He's been thrown into the fire. Now has 3 starts. He's only won one of those 3 games, and he's coming down to the end here. It's going to be interesting to see what the plan is moving forward with him and Josh Dobbs.
Do you think that he can even be a backup in this league?
With development, I think he has a chance to be a backup. I just, like I said before, I think he's kind of a. When you draft a guy like that, maybe you're looking at and saying, well, maybe he's a little like Jalen Hurts. And to me, I think there's exceptions to the rule, but you can never let the exceptions become the rule. I remember when I was playing, long time ago, Doug Flutie was the man. So every short quarterback, people compared to Doug Flutie. And all of a sudden, oh, you should see him. He's so short, just like Doug Flutie. Well, just because you're short doesn't mean you're a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. Just because you're this, that, and the other thing doesn't mean you're the next Jalen Hurts. Doesn't mean you're the next this guy, that guy, or the other thing. And I think he has some traits that demonstrate, and has good college film that demonstrates that maybe he could do some of these things at the NFL level. But he certainly hasn't. He's got a long way to go.
What did you make of Malik in the fact that this wasn't his first start either? This is his 3rd start in the NFL, and that is concerning that I don't feel like he's getting any better. Vrabel even said after the game that he thinks that Malik has taken steps backwards.
That's a fair point. And, I say this every week when I come on. I talk about quarterbacks to me are evaluated in a handful of areas. The third down, the team was 4 out of 12 on third down. That's not a winning grade to me. In the red zone, he had a good run in the red zone for a touchdown, but it's not like he ran the crossing routes that they've run in the past to Woods or to Okonkwo. And in the 2-minute drill. And I thought both 2-minute drills I thought were disastrous. The first one, they throw the interception. They're fortunate enough to get the ball back. And then they get the ball because of a face mask penalty. They get the ball. It seemed like he, throwing the ball over the middle of the field with no timeouts left and a running clock seemed a little bit like unaware of the situation in that moment. They got fortunate because they got the face mask on the scramble. They were able to throw a Hail Mary. And as I said on the, we talked about off the air, I think that was a ill-conceived Hail Mary pass that was really kind of usually when you see a Hail Mary, you see a whole group of people going up for the ball. And usually when you line up in a 2x2, everybody's coming towards the middle of the field to the uprights. That just looked like switch verts. 4 guys running vertically down the field, and I thought the Texans did a good job matching him, and Petrie had a, layup for an interception to end the game.
Well, it's like you told me the other day that Petrie caught the ball below his waist.
That can't, on a Hail Mary, that just can't happen. I mean, picture the Hail Marys you've seen in the course, the Aaron Rodgers Hail Marys.
Yeah, like when you were at Tennessee and Jawan Jennings went up for the ball and it came down, like that was 5 guys all together jumping up for it, and Jawan Jennings came down with the ball.
And those are the scenarios that you practice in college game, you practice on a Friday walkthrough. In the NFL, you practice on a Saturday walkthrough, and they're only going to happen once, maybe twice a season, at the very, very most. And that's you practice them significantly more than they're actually going to occur, and they have to be executed at a really high level. And I'm quite sure those are the moments, not specifically that play, but those are the things that I think have the head football coach very frustrated with his team right now.
What did you think about Malik's mechanics?
Again, I mean, the ball didn't get pushed down the field. Now, is it the weather? Are there a lot of things? Is it the protection? Is it just the game plan? I mean, his mechanics were okay. I mean, he threw a whole bunch of short patterns. I mean, when they threw those 5-yard hitches, or I think he's best off the RPO mechanics where he fakes the ball in, the zone into Henry and then pivots his hips a little bit and throws the slants or the hitches to where the where the 7th or 8th guy in the box is coming right there. I thought he had a couple good mechanically had a couple good plays like that. But when he drops back, I think he sometimes looks at the rush. That becomes very evident to me. I thought he scrambled. He didn't step up in the pocket. He ran out of the pocket more often than not. And he made some plays, as I said, with his feet, both designed runs and kind of scramble-type runs that were the most positive part of the game for him on Saturday for sure.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us. What did you make of the comments after the game that Malik made? Unsolicited brings up the I don't care about the stat sheet. Was asked about the team's turnovers, talks about how his Hail Mary one shouldn't count. Talked about how we're all blessed and, it's just football and he's just as happy if they would have won or if they had lost. What did you make of those comments after the game? From the quarterback.
Did not like them. Did not like them. I think we're in the midst of a playoff run where you have a fan base that's very, very frustrated right now. And a fan base that feels when they hear comments like that, the feeling of a fan, I think, is, what, I want to win more than this guy wants to win? And when you hear him in the context of what he's saying, I get it. And he says he's going to learn from that experience and try to get better. And there's a little bit of immaturity. And maybe there's someone in the organization that needs to do a better job preparing him for that moment. But I personally, think that was a moment. You can't make excuses for your turnovers, your takeaways, your giveaways, things along those lines. And you have to be that guy that's in the huddle that says, "Hey, we've got to find a way to win this game. Hey, we're in this. It's coming down to week 18. I'm the guy for the job." He just didn't instill confidence in me that he's the guy for the job. One night, one game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's do it to get a home playoff game.
Did you see anything in the body language?
Immaturity, maybe just the first time being through that experience, and I can understand all that stuff. But that's the position that he is in. When you are an NFL, there's only 32 of these guys, NFL quarterbacks that started on Sunday afternoons, and he needs to be the one who takes responsibility for the offense and for the group and for the team. And you could sense a lot of bad body language and a lot of frustration when you hear a lot of people talk after the game on Saturday, from the head coach right on through to the last guy that they spoke with.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us, 615-737-1025. Now the other culprit, the coordinator, Todd Downing. What did Bob make of his game plan? What did he make of the play calls? All the things everybody's mad about. We'll get to that coming up next. Coach Shoop is with us here on Stillman and Company. Hey, this Thursday, join Chase, Willie, and D-Mace as they broadcast live from Almost Friday, located downtown at 415 4th Avenue South. The guys will be giving away a pair of tickets to see Luke Combs at Nissan Stadium. That's this Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Almost Friday. And be sure to tune in for the pregame show, special edition Thursday night, live from Sunny's Patio Pub and Refuge, located at 1322 6th Avenue North in Germantown. Join me and former Titans receivers Chris Sanders and Derek Mason from 5 to 7 prior to the Titans taking on the Cowboys. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and An Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes! Touchdown!
Every three.
Free ball! Yes, sir!
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee!
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Treat yourself to the gifts you really wanted at the Electronic Express Huge After Christmas Sale. Our convenient locations have great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Apple, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, it's Joe Rexler here letting you know now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, my personal sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with the promo code Joe102. FanDuel, of course, has all your favorites, money line, point spread, player prospect. You can combine them for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. If I was looking at Titans, Cowboys, I do like the Cowboys in this game. I think the Titans are just trying to get to the finale and see what kind of a team they can put together. I do think that I would still go, though, with a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. I mean, he's going to show up and play hard. Do whatever you want. Just do it on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Sign up again. Promo code Joe102 for that no-sweat first bet. Promo code Joe102. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I think you have to be wise about what tendencies maybe you created formationally or how teams might adjust to the RPOs. And, you know, with some other RPO teams throughout the league, you get some evidence of how they might play them. So you got to take all that into account, but it's certainly an asset of his.
That was Todd Downing on the RPOs talking about it with Malik Willis. When they ran the RPOs, apparently 11 plays. This was Blake Bedingfield, a former scout, writes for PaulKaharski.com. And he said when they ran an RPO on 11 plays, they averaged 10 yards a play, they scored 2 touchdowns, and Willis moved the ball effectively. Everything else, they ended up with like 120 yards, and I think it factored to like 3 or 4 yards a play outside of the RPOs. So then why only call 11 RPOs? Coach Bob Shoop, what did you make of Todd Downing's game plan and execution of the game plan from the Titans on Saturday?
We've talked about the RPOs for several weeks, not just with Malik Willison, but with Ryan Tannehill as well. I felt like one of the things that they could do to alleviate the pressure on a average to below average O-line, to take the pressure off Derrick Henry just running in behind 12 and 13 personnel sets and things along those lines, was to incorporate some RPOs. Every time, and I didn't do the statistical analysis, but every time they've run an RPO over the past 4 or 5 weeks, I feel like they've either gotten yards rushing or completed a 5-yard hitch that's turned into a 10-yard play. And if you're making 10 yards a pop on a play, I'd keep going back to that one. The things that disturbed me the other day, the good, bad, and ugly. That's what Coach Vrabel would do at the end of the game. That's what all coaches do. There were some good things. I mean, we talked about Derrick Henry having 126 yards on 23 carries, but immediately after the game, you shot that to me, and one of those runs was a 48-yard run. You take that out of the equation, and he's 22 carries for 78 yards, and that's back to 3.5 yards a pop again. Now, 3.5 yards again in the pop, all right, but the Texans are the 31st ranked defense in the NFL in stopping the run, so we got to do a little bit better than that. The one play that I think sometimes you try to tailor your offense to the strengths of the quarterback or the running back or the receivers. I think we're in a unique situation where we need to think about tailoring the offense to the strengths of the offensive line. And the one play that consistently makes yards to me is the counter. when they run a counter and they pull a guard and they pull the backside tight end and do some things, that's the touchdown run, the 48-yard run. That play against the Chargers last week and against the Texans this week has consistently made yards. So going back to the RPO concept, I'd say let's utilize that. And again, to the point about, we talked last week about maybe for Downing, this is a reset opportunity. You have Malik Willis in there, different skill set than Tannehill, different level of experience than Tannehill. Let's call the game and utilize his strengths. 14 out of 25 passing, 99 yards. There's no explosive passes. There's not even attempts at explosive passes. Let's turn it into the college game right here. Let's run some RPOs. Let's utilize some design quarterback runs that other teams in the NFL run. Jalen Hurts comes again to mind against us the other 2 or 3 weeks ago whenever he ran some just direct snaps running around the edge. I mean, the Texans used that with Driscoll the other day. Different things along those lines that can be creative and find a way to make yards, because you do have a weapon in Willis. Is he a quarterback? Debatable. In your mind, not debatable. But he may be a weapon. There may be some things that he can do that can bring positive yards to the group right there.
Given the limitations of the offensive line, how much did that hamper Todd Downing's ability to call an effective game?
Significantly. I mean, no question. And we've been critical often of the left side of the line, certainly, with Daly and Brewer. But the right side of the line was vulnerable early on, too. I mean,
I thought Petit Ferrer, when he went out of the game, and
it got better.
It did?
It got better.
That is depressing. The LaRaven Clark is a practice squad journeyman. I mean, he's been on like 7 teams in the league. They signed him off the Eagles practice squad, and I know he had a ankle injury, quote unquote. I think he got benched, and they put LaRaven Clark in there, and I thought he played a lot better. That is depressing that the franchise right tackle is worse than a practice squad guy the Titans signed a month ago.
There's 11 players on the field on any given play on the offense. 5 of the 11 players have to be offensive linemen. So that's almost 50% of your offense. So that's a critical component that sometimes people neglect to recognize. Obviously, the quarterback's the most important guy, but the other skill players, you could do anything you want. You get 2 running backs, a tight end, 2 receivers. You could put 3 receivers in the game. You could put 2 tight ends in the game. But 5 of them better be offensive linemen. And right now, that's not a made-up problem. That's a real problem right now. The offensive line is, this week it was more so even in the run game. 4 sacks, yes, but there's a lot of tackles for loss where Derrick Henry was getting knocked backwards, which you don't see a whole lot.
Coach Bob Shoop's with us. All right, if we're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly, what was the ugly as far as the play calling is concerned?
As far as the play calling is concerned, I mean, same thing. A little more quarterback run I'd like to see. I'd like to see a couple balls down the field. And Okonkwo's demonstrated to be one of your better playmakers over the last few weeks. Burks doesn't have a catch, and Okonkwo has 1 catch for 10 yards. His most significant contributions in the game are as a lead blocker out of the backfield. I mean, things along those lines. I mean, I continue to hear what a weapon he could be and see what a weapon he can be. So for those 2 guys not to get the touches, Conley to only play a handful of snaps after playing fairly well against the Chargers was a little bit disappointing to me. And as I said, I didn't love the execution in the 2-minute drill, either 2-minute drill. I mean, the first interception was simple, man free with the linebacker kind of, he was the free linebacker. The other linebacker had the running back, so he was kind of looking off the eyes of the quarterback and cut right through the slant window right there. And in the second 2-minute drill, much less the Hail Mary as we just talked about, but just some of the throws in the middle of the field, not understanding that the college game and the pro game in the 2-minute drill are so significantly different. Because in the college game, after a first down, you have time to get up to the line of scrimmage. The clock pauses a little bit and allows you to get yourself organized. In the pro game, those things don't happen. And it looked, as you said, like it looked like Willis was a little unprepared for that moment.
So here were the 2 things that bothered me from the 2-minute drill. The first is they got all 3 timeouts, 2:52 to go in the game. They run Derrick for 6.
Mm-hmm.
They run Derrick for 11, and he never touches it again. So on 2 carries, they run Derrick Henry for 17 yards. They get to the 2. Malik ends up running it, and he
pulled the ball on the one. Yep.
Yep, and then he keeps it for 7 on an RPO. 2-minute warning hits. They're at midfield. They've got 3 timeouts. I'm thinking with 2 minutes to go and 3 timeouts, perfect. Run the ball.
Run
I
your
don't
offense.
even care if you're running it on 4th down at this point because you're getting 3 yards a throw. You're getting 5 yards a carry. It doesn't make any difference.
I'm calling that a 2-minute drill, but in reality, as you said, there was 250-some when they got possession of the ball, if I'm not mistaken, right there. 252 when they got possession of the ball, 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. there was plenty of time to drive the length of the field. You probably had the Texans in a situation because they know you need a touchdown. The Texans are in a situation where they're playing too high in an attempt to not a lighter box to not let the receivers get behind you. Ideal situation to run the ball down the field. You have your timeout. You have the 2-minute warning. You continue to do those things right there, and then you make a careless mistake. What was the down and distance of the interception?
Oh, you don't want to know.
1st and 10.
Yeah.
I mean, 1st and 10 interceptions are a disaster. I mean, those are going to happen on 2nd and long and 3rd down, but when it's a 1st and 10 turnover along those lines, you really have just shot every opportunity you've got right there.
1st and 10 at the 45 with 1:39 to go and 3 timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so I look at this as a failing of Todd Downing, that Derrick Henry did not touch the ball again for the rest of the game after the 2-minute warning. And yet, I think Todd Downing is probably looking at the throw Malik Willis made for the interception, and he's thinking a high school kid knows not to throw that ball. And so he's frustrated at the quarterback for not executing, and I'm assuming how he probably feels about this, for not being able to execute basic stuff. And yet at the same time, I'm mad at the coordinator because he's not putting the ball in Derrick's hands.
In that situation, the formation was at what a defensive coach would call a 2-by-2. There were 2 receivers on one side and 2 on the other. And generally speaking, when teams are in a 2-by-2 formation, there's a man side and a zone side. So if the quarterback reads man-to-man coverage, he's going in one direction. If he reads zone coverage, he's going in the other direction. And it looked like they had slants coming into the weak side of the formation. And as I said, it was man-free. The middle linebacker picked up the running back. The weak side linebacker is what we term a low hole player or a rat. He's playing off the look of the quarterback. And it didn't look like Malik Willis, saw him in any way, shape, or form and threw the ball, hit him right between the 2 numbers.
I mean, so how bad is that on the play caller and how bad is that on the quarterback?
I think that's more on the quarterback. I mean, let me rephrase this. On the quarterback coach and the coordinator, that could be on him in that you say, listen, if it's man, you're looking this way. If it's zone, you're looking this way. So that's different than the play caller. The play in and of itself is a play that, you're going to see most any team in pro football run on a Sunday afternoon. That's not too dissimilar than the plays that Tom Brady called in the 2-minute drill against the Arizona Cardinals the other night. But Tom Brady knows where to go with the football, and he gets it there in the blink of an eye, a heck of a lot quicker and with a quicker release, and has some of the same issues, I promise you, the same issues on the offensive line that the Tennessee Titans do.
Then is it wrong? Like, I blame the play caller for not giving the ball to Derrick Henry on 1st and 10 with 3 timeouts.
Well, coming back to the point, we're calling that scenario a 2-minute drill, but we're still just under the 2-minute mark right there. You're across the 50-yard line. I mean, you have time. You don't need to throw the football on 1st and 10. You can run. You have your full arsenal. You have the full complement of your playbook right there to run plays at that particular point. I agree with that.
You know what's crazy? Tell me if I'm wrong about this from a coaching standpoint. If Ryan Tannehill is quarterbacking the Titans, in that exact moment, 1:39 to go, 3 timeouts at the 45-yard line, I am more cognizant of the clock and getting the ball down because I'm thinking in my head that if I end up not getting it, I want to keep my timeouts to be able to get the ball back and have a second chance. With Malik, I knew there was no way that they could call 3 timeouts and drive the length of the field. So to me, run the ball, and if you run out of time or if you run it on 4th and 3 and you don't get it, you lose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm more willing to invest in one drive with Malik at quarterback when I'm already at the 45-yard line than I would be if I had Tannehill, and I'm like, hold on, let's keep the timeouts in the back pocket just in case we need them kind of thing.
Well,
is that wrong to think?
No, I think it's a great observation. And Tannehill, keep in mind, Tannehill was down 14-7 the week before to the Chargers and took him down the field to tie the game up. And, again, clearly, I mean, if a team gains 272 total yards, has 3 turnovers, and makes some of the mistakes the offense is, you have to score in the NFL to win games. I mean, that's the nature of pro football in 2022. However, I'll say it again. I said it last week. There's a difference between playing well on defense and playing winning football. This was another week that heading into the fourth quarter, the Tennessee Titans had the lead against a team that they're better than and gave up 9 fourth-quarter points, including a drive where Davis Mills went 5 for 5 for 72 yards and drove them right down the field to win the game. So there's enough blame in the blame pie to go around here if you want to be a division or a conference playoff caliber team.
Mike Vrabel with some eye-opening comments after the game. It felt like he walked them back yesterday. We'll get Coach Shoop's thoughts on that. We'll do that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Hey, Play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at thegamenashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. And be sure to check out Nashville's best deals. Get half-off gift cards for Old School Pizza, Nashville Bicycle, and more. Visit thegamenashville.com/deals now while supplies last.
Tonight.
Knocked down in front, rebound on the score. Ryan Johansson.
Your Nashville Predators return from the holiday break to take on the Dallas Stars. Pre-game at 6. Face-off at 7 on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
You look at yourself in the mirror every day and you can't deny it anymore. Your hair is not as thick as it used to be, and it's making you feel self-conscious. Hair Club is here to save the day. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair and feel confident again. No matter what stage of hair loss, they can help. Hair Club can customize a solution just for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Celebrate New Year's Eve at Rebar at the Dam. Ring in your Nashville New Year with live music from Backlit performing on stage. As always, watch all the big games on the giant video walls and multiple TVs. Advance tickets on sale now. Single $15, couples $25. Rebar at the Dam. Why fight the downtown crowds when you have a party right in your own backyard? Plenty of free, well-lit parking. Rebar at the Dam, just off Stewart's Ferry Pike. It's a damn good time.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mace, we'll have Chris Mason join the program at 11 o'clock, along with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick 360 at noon. We'll continue to get you set for Cowboys and Titans on Thursday. Party starts at 10 here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
You know what I mean? You hear, man, I hate losing. You know, I hate losing too. So maybe we should love preparing and love focusing before the game and doing as much as we possibly can so that we don't make mistakes in critical times or mental errors or things that could be avoided.
When you say maybe we should love preparing and doing the things before the game, are you saying that you may not have 100% buy-in?
Well, it's not the buy-in. It's just, you know, how much are we doing outside of the time that we're at the facility? I don't know. You know what I mean? Those are questions that, you know, if they just, you know, if you as a professional athlete just work 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30 and I don't know how much you get out of it. Maybe God gifted you with some really, really cool talents. We just have to, all do a little bit more. And that's with me and the preparation, and that's with the coaches and the players, and, just a little bit more of everything.
Were you surprised to hear that after the game, Coach Shoup?
No. I mean, again, I've seen the good, bad, and ugly. Never at the NFL level. I never coached at the NFL level. But I know exactly. I respect Coach Vrabel tremendously, and I know exactly the mindset he has. Losing is difficult.
Would you say it after the game to the press?
That was tough. And to me, I thought the first part of what he said was positive, but then whenever the question was followed up and he actually singled out people and said it's not. And I do think this. I think buy-in is a word that the media uses and the fan base uses, and when they hear there's no buy-in. Like, I agree with Coach Vrabel. It's not buy-in. It's not buy-in. But you just shared with me off the air what you do to get ready for a show that's on the air from 2 to 6. You get up at 6:30 in the morning and you're listening to this. I mean, if you want to be the best in the world at what you do, and let's be honest, there's only 32 NFL teams, and there's only 32 head football coaches, and there's only 32 starting quarterbacks. There's only 32 of all these things right there. If you want to be the elite of the elite, it takes a little bit more than just an 8 to 4 or 8 to 5 opportunity right there. And to me, at the collegiate level, you're always you're not super concerned about what's going on when you're in the building. The players are in the meetings. You control the practice. It's those things that as a coach you can control. It's that you can't control certain things when they're away from the building. And in the college game, it's dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids. It's about staying up and playing video games. It's about eating correctly. It's about living right.
Smoking
it's about
pot.
chasing girls. All the things that you think about. And for pro athletes, it's this is a long season. I mean, the 17-game season with the bye week is a long season. And we're talking about all the injuries and things like that. I think those are the things that are frustrating Coach Vrabel. And, you in the segment before I came on the air said, I know he doesn't like this team. I think there's certain things that he doesn't like about this team. I agree with that.
I didn't say he doesn't like this team.
You said he hates this team.
I think he hates this team.
But I definitely understand that. Each team, the 2022 version of the Tennessee Titans is very different than the 2021. Maybe the same people. I get that. But it's a very different version. Circumstances are different. The way the season goes, injuries, health. All kinds of different things, whether it's things that have gone on with the coaches. I mean, there's some bizarre things that have gone on during the course of this season. The firing of the GM in the middle of the season. I mean, just different things. This will be different than the 2023 team. This will be different than the 2020 team. Every team has its own identity, and I don't think this. When the team was 7-3, all I heard was this team's in the identity of its head coach. The toughness aspect. We can run the ball. We can stop the run. All those things. And these last 5 weeks. I think things have gone a little bit sideways.
Okay. Do you think he's talking about anybody in particular when it comes to guys are working 8 to 4?
Well, I think it's very obvious he's talking about particular people. I mean, he knows who's in the building and when they get in the building. I brought this up to you. I mean, I still remember the TB12 documentary, Man in the Arena, and there's the scene in the 2004-2005 Patriots where Vrabel and Brady are in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, and Vrabel says, I was here at 5:30, and Brady says, I was here at 5. And I think that's what makes him special. And I think it takes a unique – I think the hardest thing for coaches, whether it's a high school coach, college coach, or pro coach, you've chosen to make this your career, and you're passionate about the game of football. It's a career to you. It's a lifestyle. To pro athletes and to the athletes that you coach in general, there's athletes that I've coached that love football and are equally passionate, and there's players that love what football does for them. And I think there's some frustration there, and that's why on a staff you have a head coach, you have coordinators, you have position coaches, but you also have people away from the field, player development people, who really don't have a lot to do with the X's and the O's and what you see on the field, but have
you
a
mean
lot.
His next general manager?
I don't. There's people in that building who are teaching, money management, nutrition,
Sure.
strength, all those things. But there are people teaching you how to be a pro, and I don't necessarily mean pro football player. I mean young professional in this career. I mean, it's doing things away from the building that will better ensure that you have success on a Sunday afternoon.
Coach Bob Shoup is with us. Do you think that those comments were pointed towards Malik?
That's hard to say. I mean, I think they were commented, when Jeffrey, I think, chimed in, I think you got a little bit more. I think the players have a better feel maybe than some of the coaches. And when he said some of the young players, you could see that almost as a natural tendency to the backup quarterback, because at any other position, teams rotate. You rotate guys in the game at offensive line, at defensive line, at linebacker, at receiver, at running back, whatever. Everybody has a little role. The backup quarterback's role is to generally be the scout team quarterback during the course of the week, and the chances of you getting in the game are slim. Now, in this particular case, it's a young player. Malik's a young player. He had some game experience. You would think that would have whet his appetite and put himself in a position that 5, 6, 7, whatever this is, 7 weeks later, he'd have been a little bit better than he was even against Kansas City and to the Texans the first time. And again, that's everything. That's Ryan Tannehill bringing him along. That's the coach's staff bringing him along, and that's his responsibility to be ready to rock and roll as well. And I can't say for certain, but I think there was a little bit of that in there.
I looked at that as Vrabel called the team out for being lazy. And Vrabel actually talked about this yesterday. He was asked about his, too many guys that are working 8 to 4 comments. Here's what Mike Vrabel said yesterday.
When you talk 8 to 4, 8 to 4:30 guys on Saturday, were you talking to some specific guys, or were you talking kind of thematically about everybody giving?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I guess I just have to be more careful with how I choose my words. I just was trying to say that we all need to, to say less and just try to start doing more right now, and just, studying more, communicating more, asking more questions, coaching better, explaining, teaching better, so that players can come back with questions and say, hey, I saw this. How would we, play that? Or, I wasn't, I'm not spreading a message to the media that I haven't said to the players at any point in time. It's not how I want to coach. So that's all that was. That was just just explaining it. I think, again, building off that, how much better can we get physically at this point in the season? Where can we try to find an edge to help us win?
So what were your thoughts on that walk back?
That's a couple weeks in a row now he's had to walk back some of his comments. I mean, and those are things that I have such respect for Mike Vrabel. I do. I think he's a tremendous head football coach, and I think those are things to me that have been, I'm certain, said in team meeting settings. Said to the assistant coaches to make sure you reiterate this to the players in your position meeting room right there. I think you guys were talking about in Carolina, we're talking, he's clearly most honest immediately after the game. I think he regrets those comments. I think he's a little bit emotional. And as I said, I mean, I think he came off, wanting to walk those back a little bit and recognize that those are the things that need to be said to the team, or if there's a player he suspects is not pulling his weight, in his preparation, certainly to that individual in a one-on-one meeting or with a position coach in that particular player. I think what he said, and the one thing that we just talked about a minute ago, I think the NFL season is so incredibly long that there's only when you get those little clips of practice film, on Twitter or whatever, and the guys have their hooded sweatshirts on, they're doing some, drill that looks like it's about half to 3/4 speed. He's 100% right. At this stage of the season, there's only so much physicality you can do in practice, both by rule and by just the fact that the season's so long, that the players need to get mental reps through watching the film, through their preparation. And sometimes when you have young players, they talk about that hitting that wall. That's a phrase sometimes they use with rookies and people like that. I'm not sure that people are hitting the wall, but I just know the NFL season is so incredibly long. This started somewhere in mid-July with training camp, and here we are, the Tuesday before the New Year's, and we still have 2 regular season games left and hopefully a home playoff game and beyond that.
Coach Hoop's with us. I have 2 strategy questions for you, one of which you know very, very well, or at least know have a very, very good idea about. We'll get to that next. Coach Shoop's with us live from Bridgestone Arena, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3. The Game. Preds fans, hang out before the game tonight at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5, 106.3. The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter to win a pair of tickets for an upcoming Preds home game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bopus. Cool to start the morning, but the afternoon right up near the 30-degree mark. However, we have to do with a little bit of snow early in the day. That tapers off late afternoon into this evening, and then we'll stay calm for the rest of the upcoming week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. I love this time of year. Christmas music, big meals, and maybe even a little snow. There's just something in the air. I don't know about you guys, but I have my leg lamp in the window and my moose glass for eggnog. I'm ready to kick off these holidays right. At Newton, we want to help you kick off the holidays right by helping spread the holiday spirit. And trust me, we have a lot of holiday spirit. We love helping customers find ways to surprise their loved ones with a new car. Can you imagine the look in their face Christmas morning? And if you aren't sure you're on the good list, we can put in a good word with a big guy. Don't be a Scrooge. Change your car buying experience in Newton and find out how we can help you start off the holidays with a new car. We have more new cars in stock right now than we've had any time in the past year. It's like a Christmas miracle. Kind of. Shop now at newtonford.com to find your next car today.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on, and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun to be back in Nissan Stadium. Obviously, I wish we got the win.
But, we're working hard getting ready for Thursday night game, which is going to come really quick. But, no, it's good. It's good to be back in a Tennessee uniform. A lot of great fans. Oh, it's been good. It's been good. It's been, I think, anytime you get as many mental reps as you can throughout the process. So it's been good. There's a lot of, as I said last week, there's a lot of crossover between the offenses that I've been in and this offense. So that's helped a ton. I have a great QB room, and Pat, we've spent a lot of time together getting me up to speed as quickly as possible.
That was Josh Dobbs on Jim Wyatt's Twitter talking about being a backup quarterback here for the Tennessee Titans. Now, Coach Bob Shoop's with us. He was the starting quarterback at Tennessee when you were the defensive coordinator. You know Josh Dobbs. You've now seen a little bit of Malik Willis breaking down the tape. Here is my strategy question to you. If I'm Mike Vrabel, I'm the coach, I have told Todd Downing, and I have told Pat O'Hara, the quarterback coach, and I have told Josh Dobbs, Malik will start this Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys, and he will play the whole game unless something happens to Malik. And then, as soon as that game is over, on Friday, we are getting you, Josh Dobbs, ready to be the starting quarterback for Week 18 at Jacksonville. I do not believe in tanking the season at this point. I think you try to get into the playoffs. Do I think you're going to be able to beat a Justin Herbert or a Joe Burrow with Josh Dobbs? Probably not, but there's a chance maybe Tannehill comes back from what we're hearing. More importantly, I tell Josh Dobbs, you're getting Week 18 against Jacksonville. Do you think that is good strategy?
Bold strategy, Cotton. Bold
How
strategy.
is that bold strategy? Malik sucks.
I said that we just talked about it. All things equal, all things considered equal, I trust Josh Dobbs more than I trust Malik Willis. Now, I cannot say with certainty that all things are equal. Malik Willis has been in that room, throughout the OTAs, mini camp, training camp, every day. He got to watch and learn from Ryan Tannehill, Pat O'Hara, and Todd Downing throughout the course of the season. Now, Josh Dobbs is a quick study, and there's no question about that. And you can just hear the maturity level in his voice, and you can hear the confidence in his voice just from that soundbite you just played, without question. Let's not confuse Josh Dobbs for one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the NFL. He's 10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception. That's the facts. That's the facts. And he has very, very little – I'm not sure he's ever started a game, and he has very, very little significant, meaningful playing time. To put him in a situation where season on the line, that's a tough one. So when I say all things equal, I trust Josh Dobbs more than I trust Malik Willis with the small sample size of Malik Willis. I'm just not 100% sure things are equal. Now, having said that, we certainly watched Baker Mayfield over the last 3 weeks go to the L.A. Rams, and he's going to be the NFL Player of the Week for the second time in the next 3 weeks with 2 days of practice the first time and 2 weeks of practice. And I know Josh Dobbs is as highly intelligent and smart as that person, and I know he can, if put in the situation, he's been on the Jaguars in the past. I trust him and feel like he would give us a good, maybe the best opportunity to win the game against the Jaguars without.
I don't think Josh Dobbs is checking the ball down to the running back with no timeouts and 40 seconds to go 5 yards over the middle of the field.
Agreed. I think that's Josh Dobbs to me. He's been in the NFL 6-7 years now, and I know that he's a sponge. Does
that make you feel old, by the way?
Yes. He's not he's not the guy that Mike Vrabel was talking. You could hear when he talked about the mental reps in practice, when he talked about the film study and things like that. And that's what I mean when I say all things equal. All things equal, I have as much trust in Josh Dobbs as anybody that I've ever been around in 35 years of coaching. And again, it's not like he's got a significantly better arm. It's not like he's a significantly more accurate passer. I just think when the game's on the line, he'll make the right decisions and put the team in the best situation to win.
I don't think Josh Dobbs is throwing that interception right into the linebacker's chest.
Agreed.
Malik Willis threw.
I agree with that.
And so if I can have that, when you say, we're not anointing Josh Dobbs, I am anointing him as better than Malik Willis.
And I'm with you. And I agree with that. And again, last week we talked about Josh Dobbs because I think he was signed the day we were on the air. And, I think the thing that's prevented him from having – I think he's had a good career in the NFL. I mean, he continues to stay on different NFL teams. And he's been on teams that are generally high character, that value high character, that value work ethic and things along those lines. And he's that man. There's no doubt about that in there's no doubt about that. So to me, game on the line, all things equal. If he's prepared, he's the one that needs to be, I would put out there to win in a one-game series, and that's what it is. It's win and in series right there. Under the circumstances, that's a guy I would trust. I certainly would trust him.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us. So the Cowboy game only matters if the Titans tie Jacksonville the last week of the year. If the Titans win this week, Jacksonville loses to the Texans, and they tie in the last week of the year, then the Titans win the division. In any other scenario, the Cowboy game does not matter. Vrabel has said, he'll have to evaluate guys and who can play and who cannot. We know they got a bunch of injuries out there. We know Simmons is certainly, playing on a bum ankle. Autry just came back. I'd be stunned if those guys played against the Cowboys. Derrick Henry is about 110 yards behind Josh Jacobs for the rushing championship in the NFL. That would be his third and fourth in 4 years, probably locks him up for Canton. I think Derrick Henry's going to play on Thursday simply because of that. I think Henry values the rushing title. I think Vrabel values what it means to the player and what it would mean to the organization. What do you make of resting guys against Dallas, and specifically the veteran guys that have kind of been through it this year, that you're going to need to beat Jacksonville?
Getting back to the long season, it's just such an incredibly long season. And I think Coach Vrabel, having been a player, I mean, he values the things that you just talked about. The integrity of the game, the integrity of a nationally televised primetime game, the last home game of the regular season game of the year for the Titans. I think there's a pretty good chance you're going to see Derrick Henry out there. No question about that. I do think there's probably got to be some good judgment used here with some of the players that are injured. You got to play the O-line because there's only probably 5 or 6 of them remaining anyway. I think Malik plays, and maybe you alter the game plan again. It's an opportunity for Coach Downing to learn from the Texans game and maybe utilize some RPOs and some of the things we talked about, design quarterback runs and some of those type of things. So I mean, I do think the result of the game means very, very little. I understand that. So that's a tough one right there, because I've always been a college coach where I've never been in those type of situations. Do you look at it like the 4th preseason game and say we're going to rest these guys and we're going to be ready for the one, win and in type challenge? Or do you continue to get some of these guys reps, keep them sharp, take them out as the game goes on? Or do you go to try to beat the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, that's the questions that they're asking themselves in that building right now.
How important do you think the momentum of beating the Cowboys would be going into Jacksonville as compared to having lost 6 in a row going into Jacksonville?
I don't think not much. Again, that's the Bill Belichick quote. Past result has very little to do with future, future result. And I think it is what it is right now. The team is on a 5-game losing streak. That's the facts of the matter. They acknowledge that they have a game just a little over 48 hours from now against the Dallas team coming in here. The game means something to Dallas, from maybe trying to catch up with the Eagles with a win over the Eagles last week. So they're going to play their guys and they're going to try to win the game. Certainly a home game, there are prideful people in that room right there, but it's really, really important that we put the best Tennessee Titan team that we possibly can out there against the Jacksonville Jaguars next week.
Texter asked in the phone lines. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Why did they not call pass interference on the Hail Mary?
I thought the same thing.
They're not going to call that.
By the letter of the law, I thought that was pass interference. The guy,
tackled the receiver. The only receiver in the vicinity who was out there, because they didn't throw it to where all the other receivers were. They never call pass interference.
I'll ask a better question. Why didn't the receiver stop and try to go for the ball?
I don't know. Ian brought up the point. He thought that, Burks was trying to run out of the back of the end zone, like through the stadium. And I don't know. Coach Shoop, great stuff. As always, good to see you.
Thank you.
Coach Bob Shoop, as always, joining us and breaking down the film and all kind of the minutia that I get worked up about. Speaking of the Titans, there may be a prayer answered. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute, disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. It's Family Leisure's half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discounted merchandise.
Enjoy the movie theater experience in the safety and comfort of your own home with theater seating from Family Leisure. 2-piece sets starting at only $6.99. 3-piece sets are only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Family Leisure has air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Family Leisure has 30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $7.99. Slate pool tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Shovelboard tables from only $19.99.
Family Leisure is introducing our above ground pool sales now. 24-foot above ground pools start at only $29.99 installed.
That's Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
At both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code Joe20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built. 1, 2, 3, 9.
This is the Drive to the Playoffs, brought to you by Coleman Tractor on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Following the Titans' loss to the Houston Texans, the Tennessee Titans will now turn their attention to the Dallas Cowboys here in town on Thursday. Here's what Mike Vrabel had to say as far as his team's chances go when it comes to the postseason.
All that you've had to go through with injuries and subbing guys in and out, that the fact that there still is an avenue to the playoffs is pretty simple. How much does that kind of keep the carrot out there dangling?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're all, we're all fighting for, is to get into the tournament and then figure out a way to do that. We have a game Thursday. We have a huge opportunity in front of us, on a national stage, and I think that, again, whether you look at some of these games that were close and for other reasons didn't go our way, that's disappointing because you had some opportunities, and you could say, well, it was because of this or that, or you're beating the Jaguars and you turn it over 4 times. And
that was Mike Vrabel ahead of their matchup against the Dallas Cowboys here in town on Thursday, with kickoff set for 7:15. I'm Nick Keyser. This report has been brought to you by Coleman Tractor.
Tonight, your Nashville Predators are back in action to take on the Dallas Stars. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game. And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel. This
is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live today from Bridgestone Arena, Preds tonight against the Dallas Stars. Caroline is on remote from an undisclosed location. Ho-ho-hoing the holiday, celebrating the holiday. I just realized what I just said, and I absolutely should not have said that. I meant that in like a Christmas way, not a.
That was awfully holiday-esque
Yes.
of you.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay, anywho. So, speaking of Christmas miracles, Friday night, I went to the Preds game. They lost. You know, it is what it is. But, I'm sitting there on Twitter, and Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, is reporting that Ryan Tannehill had the tightrope surgery on his ankle, which is a minimum 4-week injury, but Tannehill's going to try to play Week 18. Now, Week 18, by my calculations, would be 20 days from when he had the tightrope surgery, which I believe is Wednesday of last week when Paul and Joe and TD all started reporting that Tannehill was likely done for the season. Why are you smiling?
I'm just thinking about you saying that I was ho-ho-hoing.
Yeah, I can't believe I said that.
I have not been ho-ho-hoing. I've just been celebrating Christmas.
That is not what I meant by that.
I know. Keep going.
Oh, my goodness. Anywho, so Joe, TD, and Paul reported on Wednesday that Tannehill was likely out for the season, and everybody's report said likely, most likely, surely, but not, 100% out for the season. And so that's what we knew. Then Adam Schefter came out on Saturday, and said Tannehill's out for the season. Now, Vrabel was asked about Tannehill yesterday because Tannehill has not gone on IR, and here is what Vrabel said.
Ryan's still on the 53, an indication he's still got a shot?
I would say that that's an indication that he's doing everything he possibly can to get back and help this team at some point.
Okay, so Vrabel is not confirming nor denying anything. He pled the fifth about why Ryan Tannehill is not on IR, and he no longer has the cover of John Robinson runs the roster because who did Vrabel say was in charge?
He didn't say anyone was in charge. Amy, I guess. If anybody's in charge,
he
it's
said
Amy.
he and Ryan Cowden are both in charge, so he's equally in charge according to him. So Vrabel pleads the fifth. If you were to tell me that Ryan Tannehill was going to play in Week 18 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, my entire mood about everything surrounding this football team would change. Everything. Like, I would not give I really don't care about Thursday night's game anyways, but I would absolutely not care about Thursday night's game. I try to figure out how many guys they could get back that are healthy, because I think the Titans could beat the Ravens in a playoff game with Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback. So if you're telling me that Ryan Tannehill is coming back against Jacksonville, I got a feeling the Titans could win that game. Right now I'm begging that they put Josh Dobbs in there. I'm not necessarily feeling they're going to win. So what do we make of the reporting, the dual reports? We got Rappaport saying Tannehill's going to try his hardest to come back for Week 18, which would be 20 days on what is usually a 28-day minimum return to play. We got Schefter saying, nope, he's not coming back for Week 18. And then we got Vrabel, who's saying Tannehill's doing everything he can to try to be back. What do we make of it?
Well, I think I go back to how reliable are Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, because really, truly, the only report that I would believe is Vrabel saying, yeah, we can expect him back for Week 18, and he's not going to tell you that. Adam Schefter said last year when Derrick Henry broke his foot that he was out for the season. Mm-hmm. So, while I would love to believe Adam Schefter saying he's optimistic or saying that there's even a possibility that Ryan Tannehill could come back, I cannot put too much stake in either of those reports. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll stay hopeful that Ryan Tannehill can come back. I'm not going to hold my breath.
So here's how I feel about I almost have to break everything down kind of into sections. On the dueling reports, the Rappaport report and the Schefter report. On the dueling reports, my belief is one of those two guys is talking to the team. The other guy is talking to the representatives of Tannehill. And I think Ryan Tannehill wants it out there, or Ryan Tannehill's camp wants it out there, that Ryan Tannehill is going to try to give his all to play in Week 18. Because the tightrope surgery is a 28-day minimum. return to play. And Tannehill would be looking at 20 days in terms of a return to play. So I don't think that timeline works out. Now, if Tannehill were to be able to come back in the playoffs and there were the difference of, it's 28 days if it's the Monday night playoff game, but it's 26 days if it's a Saturday playoff game, that you can fudge with me a little bit. But the difference between 28 and 20, I think that's pretty significant. So I'm thinking that Tannehill's group wants it out there that Tannehill's trying to play. Because I think they want everybody to think Ryan Tannehill will sacrifice his life on the line for this team. The Schefter report, I think, is from the team that is probably more realistic, that is like, yeah, it's no, it's a 28-day injury minimum, and he's looking at 20. Plus, the Schefter report lines up with Paul, TD, and Joe, and I don't know who their sources are, and I could be totally wrong about this. I'm guessing their sources are with the team, if I had to guess.
But what good does it really do for the Titans to tell Schefter, or the Titans camp to tell Schefter, that he won't be coming back?
I don't know.
If Vrabel's saying he's doing everything he can to come back, I mean, what good does it do today on December 27th to say, nope, no chance?
I don't know. I do wonder. Like, let's just say, for argument's sake, that Paul, Joe, and TD got their info from the team, right?
Okay.
What good would it do the Titans to tell Joe, Paul, and TD that when they told them?
That same thing. What good does it do the team for them to share that information unless they are 100% certain that Tannehill would be up for the season?
Or if they want to set everybody up to think that Ryan Tannehill's not coming back and then have him storm on that field against Jacksonville like Superman.
That'd be awfully dramatic.
I'm not sure that that's something that they care about.
Yeah.
But,
do they want to kind of, knock Jacksonville off, catch them off guard, force them to prepare for either Josh Dobbs or Malik Willis, and then boom, here comes Tannehill? Because if the Titans really did feel confident that, I guess, no, I was going to say they'd put him on IR, but that would be dumb for them to do that.
Yeah, they can't put anybody on IR anymore because they're out of spots basically to call anybody back. So
Yeah,
anybody they
dumb.
put on IR is out for the season. They've got one spot left, and that's throughout the playoffs. So they could go to the Super Bowl, and if they've got Nate Davis ready to come back, they couldn't bring him back because they've only got one spot, and if they use the one spot to bring Tannehill back, then they can't bring back Nate Davis. So, they have to pretty much play with an arm tied behind their back because they brought back Ola Adeni and then cut him a week later. And they keep bringing back Zach Cunningham, and Zach Cunningham keeps getting re-hurt, which is a whole nother thing. I don't think Tannehill's going to. The only thing I just, a lot of what I think's happened with the Titans lately is a lack of common sense. The lack of common sense of why you don't fire your general manager in the middle of the season, or why you don't draft a guy a week after they had a second back surgery and they haven't played football in 2 years. The common sense would tell me that if Tannehill had the tightrope surgery, which has been reported, that's a 28-day injury. And even if Tannehill had it Sunday night in Los Angeles, which we know is not true because that's not the report, it would still be 23 days, and that's probably too much for me, for him to be able to return. So it's probably a pipe dream. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your thoughts in on that, 615-737-1025. Plus, I would love for Ryan Tannehill to come back for the Week 18 game against Jacksonville, which a lot of people think is going to be flexed into Sunday Night Football. I have no idea if it is or isn't. But I do have a slogan that I am now adopting for the Sunday Night Football game or Sunday afternoon game, whatever it's going to be, the winning in versus Jacksonville, and we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company, 1025-1063 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:45. Join Robbie and Rexroad for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Treat yourself to the gifts you really wanted at the Electronic Express Huge After Christmas Sale. Our convenient locations have great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, LG, Apple, Sony, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Titans and Cowboys on Thursday night. Titans are injured. Malik Willis not that good. The Cowboys, not so sure, but I'd still bet on the Cowboys. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat bet. That's promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel this season, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
After seeing the film, what are the areas where Malik absolutely has to be better to give you a chance to win this week or beyond?
Well, I think this overall just comfort level, being quicker with progressions, not holding on, not waiting things out, knowing that you don't have all day, being good operationally. Thought he made some good decisions, some really good decisions to pull, when to give it, extend. I thought when he was decisive, was able to get to some guys. Unfortunately, Chig, put the one on the ground and dropped it, but he got to Bobby and got to Nick on, 3rd and long, and was able to get to Woods and in his zone. So, there were some things there that were good, but then obviously just want to continue to progress.
Where does Malik need to get better? Kind of everywhere, but there were a couple of things that Malik did okay on Saturday, says Mike Vrabel. So week 18, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter have these dueling reports about whether or not Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to play Josh Dobbs was signed as the backup. I have a philosophy for the Week 18 Jacksonville game. Let me say this. I do not care about Thursday's game against the Cowboys. I don't. They're going to get slaughtered by Dallas. We all know it. The number's 10, and it should probably be Dallas by 14. But my philosophy for Week 18 versus Jacksonville, anybody but Malik. If they run Malik Willis out there Week 18 against Jacksonville, I am going to have a heart attack, knock on wood, because the idea that they could put the season on the line with him at quarterback is too much for me. So that is how I'm operating, Caroline. Anybody but Malik for Week 18.
That's making the assumption that anybody but Malik who's available is going to be better than Malik, unless you are under the belief that literally anybody would be better than Malik.
Okay, let's vote.
Okay.
Malik or Josh Dobbs Week 18 against Jacksonville? I'll go first, Josh Dobbs. Ian.
I'll lean Dobbs.
Caroline.
Yeah, I have to lean Josh Dobbs too.
Okay, let's vote. Week 18, Jacksonville. Malik Willis or Jared Stillman at quarterback? I'll vote first. Jared Stillman.
I'm voting Malik there.
I'm telling you, anybody but Malik. Caroline, I don't care. Anybody but Malik. Anybody. If Keanu Reeves, who played a quarterback in a movie 20 years ago, James Vanderbeek, I'll put them in over Malik is that bad. I cannot get over it. I mean, you heard what Bob said, and Bob always couches, Bob's always like kind of nice. You know how these guys are. They don't want to throw anybody the bus. He says he's not even sure if Malik's a quarterback. I mean,
are we sure that Malik's a quarterback?
No. But wait a minute. Let me say this. Yes, I am sure. He is not.
He is not a quarterback.
Joe Rexrode said this morning he thinks Malik Willis has a 20% chance to become a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Far too rich for me.
Have you ever seen somebody play that poorly and become a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL?
I'm not even 20% sure that Desmond Ridder can be a starting quarterback in this league, and I would take Desmond Ridder over Malik Willis any day at this point.
I mean, again, I looked it up today, quarterback rating, because sometimes I think stats can be a little misleading or overrated. Sometimes, though, I think stats tell, there's one stat and it tells the story. Quarterback rating, all of the first-year guys that have played a legitimate amount, there's 4 of them. There's Pickett, Ridder, Zappe, and Brock Purdy. Whoops, my bad. All those guys that have played a little bit, all those guys of that group, Purdy and Zappe have 100 quarterback ratings. Pickett and Ridder have like 75 quarterback ratings. Malik has 42. That stat tells me all I need to know.
And Malik wasn't the last pick in the draft.
No, he was not. And he was not picked where Zappe was picked, and, it's awful. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. James in Ashland City is up next. Thank you for calling. What you got, James?
Well, first we want to wish you a happy Hanukkah, Jared, and Merry Christmas to everybody else, and happy holidays. This is my first. Let me say this: I don't think there's anybody in that studio, from Ian to Caroline to you to most of your reasonable listeners, that will tell you that Josh Dobbs is a starting quarterback in the NFL. We all know that he's not. However, that being said, he has more NFL experience, although it may be in a backup role. But I will take my chances with Josh Dobbs. I think he would do a lot better job than what we've seen out of Malik. And secondly, and this is where every time you talk about this, Jared, I'm in my car going to work, and I'm saying yes as loud as I can. Why not use that third-round draft pick, keep Logan Woodside, and fix the dadgum offensive line? I'll hang up and listen to what you got to say.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Thank you for the call. I don't have a problem with the picking of Malik Willis. I mean, I think that a lot of people see a draft pick picked and they think, why didn't you go back and get Jimmy? You could have. I mean, first of all, the right tackle the Titans drafted like 10 picks before Willis, Nicholas Petit-Frere, he sucks. Like, they put LaRaven Clark in the game. And I'm glad Bob, when Coach Shoup was here, he backed it up after watching the tape. I felt it was obvious that LaRaven Clark was more of an upgrade over Petit Ferrer. So you all want to fix the offensive line with a pick right there. I mean, there's no guarantee they would have been able to do that. I don't have a problem with the picking of Malik Willis. I don't. He should have never been the backup quarterback of this team. Never. He should have never been the backup quarterback. Whether it's Sean Mannion or Kellen Mond or Nate Sudfeld or anybody that got cut. Anybody should have come in here to be the backup quarterback, and they should have put Malik behind that guy. And he should have held a clipboard all year, and he should have learned all year, and the Titans should have known it from training camp because I knew it in training camp. And I don't think, after you saw the Houston and Kansas City games, how, when you knew Tannehill was seriously injured, could you run Malik Willis out there to start a real game? No business doing that. But the actual pick itself, I don't have a problem with because I understood what the Titans were thinking when they picked him. And I'm fine with that. I have no problem with the pick of Malik Willis. It wasn't like it was a first-round pick. It was a third-round pick. So I have a lot of problems with a lot of draft choices. That one I didn't have a problem with.
Yeah, I had no issues with the drafting of Malik Willis, but to your point, we knew he wasn't ready. When they drafted him, we said, okay, third-round project. That's fine. Maybe you just found your future starting quarterback for years and years to come in the third round. If that, cool. If not, that's fine too.
The Dallas Cowboys drafted Dak Prescott in the 4th round, and he started off as their third-string quarterback, and Kellen Mond broke his leg, and then Tony Romo broke his collarbone, but Dak Prescott had played in the preseason, so they had seen that Dak Prescott was able to be the starter and turn around and hand the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott a bunch. Like they had that feeling. I watched the preseason. You watched the preseason. Everybody watched the preseason. Malik Willis was not ready for that. And I think that they should have known better than that. Steve is up next on Malik Willis. Thank you for calling. What you got, Steve?
Hey, I had a quick comment about Todd, too. So here's a fun stat. Ryan Tannehill, 11 yards per play with play action. Under Art Smith, we ran the most play action in the NFL. Under Todd Downing, we run the least. That is a fireable offense, period. Now, about Malik, when we drafted him, I right away was skeptical. I actually went back, and some of the games were still available at Liberty, and I watched them. He was awful. 233 yards per game, average, 12 interceptions in his senior year. He looked just like he does here. He didn't know what to do. He was slow. The guy that drafted him just got fired for making bad draft picks. I just think it's completely unreasonable for people to expect Malik to play like a first-round draft pick.
Well, I hate to say it, Steve, but he's not playing like a third-round draft pick or a fourth-round draft pick or a seventh-round draft pick right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's playing terribly, and it's not like he's a guy that won a national championship like Vince Young
let me say this: the talent. Thank you, Steve. The talent between he and Vince Young is not even. I mean, that's like the talent between me and Vince Young. I mean, it's not even close. I will say this: I doubt his stat about the least play action in the league. I highly doubt that. And I have not looked at a stat. I don't know what he was citing, but I doubt it. Rick is up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. What's up, Rick?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, just comment on Malik Willis. He's not the answer to Titans' woes. Go draft another quarterback, blow up the Titans organization, rebuild, get a quarterback. It's done. It's over. They're not going to win against Jacksonville.
I agree with the very first part. Thank you, Rick. I don't agree with anything else. I will tell you, for everybody out there that wants to blow up the organization, if I was in charge, we're running it back with Henry and Tannehill next year. If I had a say in it. We're not blowing it up. We're not getting rid of Jeffrey Simmons. Not getting rid of Kevin Byard. I'm not getting rid of Nate Davis unless he leaves as a free agent. I'm not tearing down the foundation of with which I've built. I mean, am I going to have to draft a little bit better? Am I going to have to sign some free agents? Am I going to have to hit on a trade or something? Sure. But I'm not blowing it up. To me, you blow it up in the NFL when you don't have a choice but to blow it up. 615-737-1025. The college football playoff is in front of us. Trevor Maddich will join us up next, ESPN college football analyst, and why I think one team is kind of getting screwed. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hi, I'm UC Saros. And this is Smashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by UC Saros there.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's Family Leisure's half-off after Christmas sale going on now.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discounted merchandise.
Enjoy the movie theater experience in the safety and comfort of your own home with theater seating from Family Leisure. Two-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Three-piece sets are only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Family Leisure has air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Family Leisure has 30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $7.99. Slate pool tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Shovelboard tables from only $19.99.
Family Leisure is introducing our above-ground pool sales now. 24-foot above-ground pools start at only $29.99 installed.
That's Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
At both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Losing your hair? It's Chase McCabe. No matter your age, gender, or type of hair loss, it's never a good feeling when you see too much hair on your brush or you begin to notice bald spots. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 members get hair they love. If you're affected by hair loss and not sure what to do, let Hair Club help customize a solution for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today and get started at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, let's get brunch. How long is the wait?
Tired of the same old brunch spots? 2 words. Bottomless Brunch. That's right. Almost Friday is the newest sporting club in downtown Nashville, and they're ready to help you elevate your weekend. All you can eat and drink while you watch the game, play flip cup, pong, or other games, and turn it up with their DJs. There's no other place in Nashville like it. If it's not Friday, it's almost Friday. Reserve your table now at almostfridaynash.com. It's always Almost Friday at Almost Friday Sporting Club.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code APP70 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's code APP70. Use code APP70 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill up.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is John Hines, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Live from Bridgestone Arena, Stillman and Company. The college football playoff is this weekend. And we got a couple good ones. TCU and Michigan. And I am shocked because Ohio State is actually the spread. Ohio State, Georgia is closer than TCU, Michigan. Nobody is giving TCU a chance. And I just think it's because TCU is the least popular of the four teams in terms of, name brand recognition in college football. Georgia only a 6-point favorite against Ohio State. I'm not so sure about that. Trevor Maddich joins us now, ESPN college football analyst presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Houston Clinic Orthopedics when experience matters. Trev, let's start with the first one. This is Michigan and TCU. I will admit, I do not really care about TCU. I don't think about TCU outside of when they're playing a game that matters. And they lost the Big 12 championship. I know they had the quarterback that played through a bunch of pain earlier and played really, really well in that Big 12 championship game, even though they lost. But they're an 8-point dog to Michigan. Is it as lopsided as people are making it out to be?
It's either going to be a lot worse than that or TCU is going to win outright.
Really?
And it'll really depend on how well TCU can move the ball in the first half. Because what Michigan does, they have the most brutally physical offensive line in college football. And they commit to the run in the first half. And teams tend to stay close to them in the first half. But then in the second half, they wear down the opposing defense. And all of a sudden they start popping off huge runs. Defenses have to bring up safeties to the box. They start popping off huge passes. And so really for TCU, a big key is to play ball control offense, strange as that sounds, in the first half so that their defense doesn't get worn out in the first half. Now, having said that, it's the other side of the ball, Jared, where TCU has their best chance, and that's on offense. I mean, this is a phenomenal offensive football team. And, I mean, they've got the ability to attack anywhere on the field they want to attack with future NFL guys. So as good as the Michigan defense is, TCU, if they have time to operate, will be able to get the matchups that they want. Their wide receiver group goes 4 deep with NFL guys, including a first-rounder that will be taken in the first round, Quentin Johnston, 6'4", 215. You can't cover him one-on-one. They've got a couple of game-breaking running backs, and their quarterback's a Heisman finalist, for goodness sake. So this is a bigger threat to Michigan than I think a lot of people give them credit for.
So the one thing I think doesn't get talked about enough, Michigan's offensive line 2 years in a row has won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in college football. They've got an offensive coordinator, Sharon Moore, who I think, 36 years old, used to play guard at Oklahoma. I think he should be in the mix for a Power 5 job. Nobody ever mentions his name. I think that Michigan might be one of the best. The way the Titans want to win games, that's how I think Michigan wins games, and I don't think that they get enough credit for that, even though they've just stuck it to Ohio State 2 times in a row, Trev.
Yeah, well, they stuck it to Ohio State the first time around, that's for sure, last year. Part of that was because Ohio State kept playing 5 defensive backs and wouldn't get out of that formation, even though Michigan was running the ball down their throat. Then this last year, Ohio State actually did well on defense against Michigan, except for 5 plays. But those are correctable mistakes. One of them was a 69-yard touchdown pass to Cornelius Johnson. Basically, Ohio State had everybody up on the line, and it worked because there weren't enough guys to block all the pass rushers, and there was a free runner. So J.J. McCarthy, the Michigan quarterback, throws the ball out to the left flat, short pass. Receiver catches it, and the defensive back blows it. He either needs to make that tackle right there or at least force him back inside. Instead, he let the receiver spin up the sideline, and there was nobody left. And then that snowballed because the same kind of thing happened with the other long touchdowns. You look at touchdown runs by Donovan Edwards of Michigan against Ohio State late in the game. One was 75 yards, one was 85 yards. And one of them had one safety deep, everybody else was up at the line. The other one had no safety deep, everybody else was up at the line. And when he got through the line, it was just track meet at that point. And you tend to get through the line when the offensive line is that good and late in the game, defenders are tired enough that they can't fill their gap completely. They just get an arm into the gap instead of a body into the gap. So these are things that Michigan does exceptionally well. TCU, their defense has gotten better and better as the year's gone on, but they still play a 3-3-5. So 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. And remember, when Cincinnati tried to do that last year against Alabama, Alabama just packed it in and drove them off the ball. I think TCU is going to have to change a little bit of what they're going to do because Michigan's going to put in, an offensive lineman as an extra tight end, 2 offensive linemen an extra tight end. They'll have 3 tight ends packed in, and they'll just drive you off the ball. And if you only have 3 D linemen, you're in a whole lot of trouble. So I'm interested to see what TCU's defense is going to do to slow that down. That's why their offense is so important. I mean, TCU needs to turn this into a track meet.
Trevor, I think it's ridiculous that Georgia's only a 6-point favorite against Ohio State. I have a theory. The Buccaneers, every week we keep thinking they're going to turn it around or they're going to be some good football team because Tom Brady's their quarterback. And every week we see how bad the Buccaneers stink. And I'm convinced the Buccaneers are terrible. And now I think everybody understands that. Now, Brady's still good, but the Bucs are awful. We see Ohio State, and we expect Ohio State to play a certain brand of football. I don't think this Ohio State team is that good. I mean, I think they're good, but I don't think they're that good. They were in battles with bad Big Ten teams, and they got smoked by Michigan at home. I think Georgia should blow out Ohio State. What do you make of it?
Well, you would think so, but the reason that Michigan seems like they smoked Ohio State in Columbus was because of those 5 long touchdowns. And those are all
do count,
correctable
Trevor.
mistakes. What?
I said those do count.
Oh, no, they do count, but those are correctable mistakes. Last year, they were in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. Guys were busting their assignments, not in their gaps, and Ohio State gave up a ton of big plays. This year, with a new defensive coordinator, Ohio State is much, much better on defense. I mean, in many respects, they're a top 10 defense. But then against Michigan, they made some mistakes that they couldn't recover from. But they're correctable mistakes. Mm-hmm. On the other side of the ball, this is where Ohio State has a chance. Because, again, I think they still have to expect this to be a high-scoring game. The Buckeyes offense, though, it's a bad matchup for Georgia. Because Georgia's defense, for all the rockets it usually is, they gave up 502 yards passing to LSU in the SEC championship game. And that's not just to the starting quarterback, Jaden Daniels. In came the backup, Garrett Nussmeier, and he had over 250 yards passing. And when you compare the offense of LSU and Ohio State, LSU has one of the best receiving corps in the country, but so does Ohio State. The Buckeyes are better at quarterback and offensive line in terms of protection than LSU is. So Georgia would tell you that was an anomaly. They would say that, yeah, we shut down the Tennessee passing offense. That's one of the best in the country. We're not going to make those mistakes again. But the thing is, starters on Georgia's defense gave up those yards in part because they didn't find the ball in the air, because they lost track of receivers on the scramble drill and let guys be wide open in the end zone sometimes, because they didn't come up and tackle when they played soft and a short pass turned into a long touchdown. Ohio State excels at all those things. They do them better than LSU does. And so, Georgia's not wired tight in the secondary. They will find themselves in a track meet.
Trevor Matich is our guest. Trevor, do you think that Georgia is hands down the best team in the country, or do you think it is close with one of the other 3?
I think Georgia is hands down the best team in the country, but they are not without flaws. Mm-hmm. And their biggest flaw is that they are not terribly dynamic at wide receiver. They are all-timer dynamic at tight end. But with A.D. Mitchell, wide receiver, coming back from injury, they may be able to overcome that a little bit. But overall, if you compare them player for player, unit for unit, everywhere, they do everything offensively and defensively as well as any of the other 3 teams in the playoff, sometimes more. That's assuming that the LSU pass defense getting torched was an anomaly, because that we hadn't seen that this year yet. And so we'll see how that shakes out, because Ohio State will try to duplicate that. But, yes, Georgia right now should win the national championship. And if they don't, I think it would be more that they messed up than they got beat by a better team.
Trevor Matich is our guest. Trevor says that he's got some comments on Malik Willis that he wants to share. Let me say this. Either I am going to love Trevor more than I already do, or I am going to scream at him. It is going to be one or the other, because I don't know what are the Malik Willis comments that he wants to share, and we will get to that coming up next. First, though, let me tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love my friends at Hiller. That's right. And they've taken great care of my home for years, and they can do the exact same for you. They got special deals until the end of the year. You still got a little time in there to scoot that on in. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they are celebrating until the end of the year. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. They have more details online at happyhiller.com, and you can get a $250 Visa gift card with every tankless water heater purchase. As always, Happy will be here, or the service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year, so you got to schedule today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
New Year's Eve. It's time. Iowa.
Touchdown, Iowa.
Kentucky.
And that's a Kentucky touchdown.
The TransPerfect Music City Bowl lives on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 93.3 Classic Hits. Join Caroline Fenton for the official pregame show at 10, followed by kickoff at 11. The TransPerfect Music City Bowl is presented by
High Five Buys and the Nashville Sheriff.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 93.3 Classic Hits.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
One last night below freezing as temperatures drop to the upper 20s under partly cloudy skies. Much warmer for Wednesday. Partly cloudy, we'll see those highs top off in the low 50s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. I love this time of year. Christmas music, big meals, and maybe even a little snow. There's just something in the air. I don't know about you guys, but I have my leg lamp in the window and my moose glass for eggnog. I'm ready to kick off these holidays right. At Newton, we want to help you kick off the holidays right by helping spread the holiday spirit. And trust me, we have a lot of holiday spirit. We love helping customers find ways to surprise their loved ones with a new car. Can you imagine the look in their face Christmas morning? And if you aren't sure you're on the good list, we can put in a good word with a big guy. Don't be a Scrooge. Change your car buying experience in Newton and find out how we can help you start off the holidays with a new car. We have more new cars in stock right now than we've had any time in the past year. It's like a Christmas miracle. Kind of. Shop at NewtonNissanSouth.com to find your next car today.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Are you looking for Tennessee-grown and crafted THC, CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9 products? Then float on over to ounceofhope.com. On top of the widest selection of luxury edibles and smokables, their customer service team is high quality and prepared to help select the right cannabis product for your needs. Their knowledgeable team will have you flying high with a smile. That's ounceofhope.com, made locally in Memphis. Ounce of Hope is Memphis Flyers' best cannabis shop 2 years in a row. Legal THC delivered to your door. ounceofhope.com.
O'Reilly. Improve visibility in your vehicle and save $10 on a pair of Trico Force wiper blades now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Don't risk your safety because of bad wiper blades. Be ready for any weather. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours, and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's Best Sports Talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Trevor Maddich is with us as always, presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Houston Clinic Orthopedics when experience matters. Trevor told Ian he's got thoughts on Malik Willis. And Trevor, I love you, and you know how much I value your opinion. But if this is not what I want to hear, I may get mad. So please, the floor is yours. Your thoughts on Malik Willis.
All right, take a deep breath. Malik Willis isn't ready. He's not. He's just not ready to be the starting quarterback. But the Titans are not helping him at all when it comes to game planning, play calling, and protection. It's just awful. You know, you look at bookending the game, for example, against the Texans. The first drive, they got a 3rd and 13. He takes a sack. Well, 9 guys on the defense were within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. The other 2 were just past the line to gain, 13 yards down the field. They had 5 receivers out, including the running back, and those 5 receivers ended up running crossing routes all through the traffic of that zone defense before the line to gain, and it looked like none of them was running hard anyway. Then the left side of the offensive line couldn't pick up a simple stunt. And so there was pressure. And so he ended up getting sacked on that play. Was it all his fault? Well, hardly. Then you go to the end of the game, 2 minutes to go, less than 2 minutes. He throws that interception. Bad interception, right? It's a double slant to the left. So there's 2 receivers over there. They both run upfield and then slant, inside. Well, Willis is looking at the outside guy the whole time. That's really bad. And that allowed the linebacker, Christian Harris, to kind of float outside following his eyes. But at the same time, he had pressure. He had guys in his face. He had to throw the ball, so he ended up throwing it where he was looking, and nobody was open anywhere anyway, because on that play they had 1 safety deep. Everybody else was within about 6 yards of the line of scrimmage, and the pass routes were all some sort of short slant or crossing into the traffic that was being created up near the line of scrimmage. He had no chance at all. What they really need to be doing with him is turning this into a complete college situation. They don't have to change they don't have to implement a new offense. All they have to do is things like, they run the counter really well, for example. That's where you'll have offensive linemen on one side block down, a couple of guys from the other side pull around. Well, all you have to do is instead of handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, all you have to do is have Derrick Henry be a lead blocker and let Willis run behind him. Now you get an extra blocker out in front on that. Or you run screens and bubbles off of that counter action. You don't see that enough. On the touchdown that he ran in the second half, it was 2nd and 4. It was a beautiful play. It was a counter to the right, and it looked like it was either just a fake counter. He pulled the ball and he ran around left side, broke some tackles, scored a touchdown, yay. Or it could have been that he was reading it like a zone read. I couldn't tell because the defender on the left side came inside when he pulled the ball. One way or the other, that's what they need to do. And don't even run the counter, for goodness sake. Just snap the ball back to Willis, let Henry be the lead blocker, not every play, but a lot, and let him run behind him. That will force the defense to bring more defenders up, and that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field. These are things that they can adjust to without having to make massive changes in the way they play, and they would help Malik Willis. And I think if they do that against Dallas, it creates some interesting things against the Jaguars the following week, and that's the one they really have to win.
So I don't disagree with anything that you said about them holding him back or not putting an offense together for him. Coach Shoup actually was on our show earlier after watching the tape. He echoed a lot of the things that you said specifically about the counter and how he thinks that is the run play the Titans line blocks the best. My thing with Malik is twofold. Number one, you say he's not ready. I don't think he's ever going to be ready. I don't think he's accurate. I don't think he sees the field. I don't think he's gotten better this season. I think Malik Willis is truly terrible. I mean, I think that there is no hope. I do not think that he will get better. I don't think he'll ever be a backup, Trevor. I think he's a gimmick kind of quarterback, like a poor man's Taysom Hill. And I don't think that will ever change. That's the first thought I have on that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you are right that he has not shown anything to give you confidence that he's going to grow into a starter. Like Brock Purdy was drafted in the 7th round, not the 3rd round like Willis was. He's out of San Francisco, 3rd quarterback, and he's doing well. The difference is, though, he's got an offensive coordinator a head coach who was an offensive coach at Washington when RG3 was there. He knows how to use a mobile quarterback and did well with RG3, and that's why they drafted the kid out of North Dakota State who's now injured to play quarterback, and that's why Brock Purdy is succeeding so well, because he's able to simplify it, and they've got, of course, a much better team around him. This Titans offensive line, bless their hearts, are not able to block. I mean, they're just not an NFL offensive line right now. But at the same time, I don't know. I can't say that Willis will not grow into a good quarterback yet, because I've not seen him have a chance in hell to show what he can do. Right now, he doesn't know what he's looking at. Even if he had more time to throw, he doesn't know what he's looking at. So there are things they can do to help him with that. But at the same time, I'm not ready to say he can't play, because I just have no idea, because he's never been given a chance.
Okay. Then my second thing on the Willis front is I think that they're better off starting Josh Dobbs Week 18 against Jacksonville. And if I was the coach, I would be telling Dobbs, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback coach, Malik plays this Thursday against the Cowboys, and then as soon as that game's over, starting Friday, Josh Dobbs is getting ready to be the quarterback. Even though he's never started a game in the NFL, Josh Dobbs is getting ready to be the quarterback Week 18 against Jacksonville. Your thoughts on that?
Well, see, if they do that, then they've got to play Dobbs against the Cowboys. Maybe not start him, but give him a lot of playing time so he can kind of get used to the system under game conditions. It'll be a limited system, but get used to it. But I don't think I'd do it that way. I think I would run the kind of offense that I'm talking about against the Cowboys. So they don't need to win. And by the way, the Cowboys don't defend the run very well. And so all of a sudden, if you start doing the things I'm talking about against Dallas, then I think they'll have a chance to move the ball. That puts the Jaguars into an interesting preparation situation, because now they've got to assume that Willis, if they move the ball, even if they don't win the game against the Cowboys, that Willis is going to do the same thing against them. Then if Willis goes in there and plays and it doesn't work against the Jaguars, they can sit him down and put Dobbs in off the bench to have a completely different situation. And so I think they've got the ability to do a little trickeration here. And plus, I don't know, do you think Tannehill might be able to drop back into the pocket and distribute the ball? Because I know that's kind of soon off of that surgery. But I still think that against the Cowboys, they need to go full on wing T wildcat with Malik Willis at quarterback, so that they set up a couple things that they could do against the Jaguars. And then if Dobbs ends up coming off the bench, he comes off the bench.
Last one for you, Trevor. What's your assessment of the offensive coordinating and play calling of the Titans? Because that's usually what a lot of fans are mad about.
I hate it. The impression I get in watching those games is that they're running the system and making adjustments instead of identifying what the players can and can't do, and then making sure that they do those things first. That's the impression that I get, because they'll do some things that work, and then they'll go do some things that are in the system, but these players don't do well, and they've never done them well. And so I wonder about that. There's so many options to create counters off of things that they do that would fit into what these guys can do, and I don't see it being done enough. And when it is done, it works.
Trevor Maddich, as always, presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts, wall-to-wall sports, and Houston Clinic Orthopedics when experience matters. I think a lot of Titan fans will be glad to hear what you said about the play calling right there. Trevor is our guest, as always. Trevor, Happy New Year. Enjoy the college football playoff, and we will talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Maddich joining us on the show. So Trevor says that Malik's struggling and is not ready, but Malik has been given no chance by the coaching staff and the game plans. I think a lot of people would agree with that as far as the fans are concerned. Now, Malik Willis, how much more time should he get? We'll discuss. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch The Game.
Juju makes a huge play.
We talk The Game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Max Hers from the Preds Radio Network here with your Preds Report for Tuesday, December 27th. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Predators come out of the Christmas break at home tonight against the Dallas Stars, hosting a division rival at Bridgestone Arena, and we hope to see you there. Puck drop is at 7 in downtown Smashville with pregame radio coverage starting at 6 o'clock on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. After that, you won't be seeing them here much. After tonight, just one of the Predators' next 8 games is at home. All the more reason to come out to the final home game of 2022 tonight at 7 against the Stars.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way. But if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Want to kick off the new year without any credit card debt? If that sounds good to you, you can do it with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Wipe out all those credit card bills right now. Hey, Willie Donick here. Rates are down, and it's a great move to get on more solid financial footing for the new year. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a portion of the equity you have and enjoy a rate that's a whole lot less than what the banks charge on credit cards. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. You can access up to 95% of your home's equity. Use that money to pay off those high-interest credit card loans of any type. Credit cards, personal loans, car loans, whatever. Consolidate everything into one easy payment. Even if you did a whole total refi last year, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program and keep your main loan intact. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Titans fans, the after-game party is at the all-new Superbook Lounge in Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville. The Superbook Lounge is a sports viewing mecca with the largest screens on Broadway. Plus, 102.5 The Game's NFL postgame show will be broadcasting live, featuring Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow from Outkick 360. Party after the game at the Superbook Lounge and enjoy the ultimate in sports viewing while you take in the postgame show. Brought to you by Superbook Sports, Two Rivers Ford, and Renters Warehouse.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeringAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Ranks and he scores!
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live today, Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators are taking on the Dallas Stars tonight. Max Hers is here. He'll be on the pregame show in less than an hour. Puck drop in less than 2. Caroline is with us on remote. Caroline, I have said something that is very unpopular, I think. I don't know if it's unpopular or not. But it worked up a lot of people on Twitter and the text line and everything else. And I have given up on Malik Willis. Given up. I think he stinks. I think he's never going to be any good. I think he is not an NFL quarterback, and I don't think he's ever going to be one. Every time I say that, there's this whole, trail of just text after tweet after call about how Todd Downing's not doing him right, and the receivers stink, and the line's terrible, and it's not fair because he's a rookie. And Trevor just came on last segment and said the Titans are doing Malik no favors. So let me ask this question. Joe Rexrode says he thinks Malik Willis has a 20% chance of developing into an effective NFL player. I think he's got a 0% chance. That means I'm out and that the horses left the barn, and Malik Willis's future doesn't mean anything to me. How much longer does Malik Willis get until everybody else comes to my side of the aisle and says, okay, enough is enough?
I would say you got to get a competent offensive coordinator in here. And no, I don't think the play calling is the reason why I don't think Malik Willis is going to ultimately develop into a starting quarterback. But I think that you kind of got to give him the benefit of the doubt and at least bring in a competent offensive coordinator that everybody feels like, okay, we can win with this guy. And I think I think the Titans have to evaluate what exactly they want Malik Willis's role to be. Is he going to be a career backup with the Titans? I believe Bob Shoop used the word gimmick when Malik Willis was at Auburn, that they used him like gimmicky. Like he was Jarrett Stidham's backup, but they'd bring him in for run plays. They'd bring him in for gadget plays that they developed for him. So maybe the Titans see his future being exactly that. Bring Malik Willis in for gimmicky type of plays. I don't know if I can give it a hard-cut timeline. Like Malik Willis gets 2 years. Malik Willis gets 4 years. I think that you got to play him out on his rookie contract.
Oh, you're going to give him 4 years?
Well, why not?
Because I'm going to cut him and get somebody else better in there to be the backup quarterback.
Well, I think that you have to give him at least time under a competent coaching staff that can develop him, or at least a competent offensive coordinator that can develop him. That doesn't mean that I want him to be the backup for the next 4 years.
I think Malik Willis, if he's not the backup, then he's on the team as the third-string quarterback. You're wasting a roster spot.
I think that it's fair, but I don't think that the Titans necessarily owe Malik Willis anything. But I don't think that it's necessarily fair or necessarily right to just go ahead and cut him after 1 year.
I do not think that Malik Willis would be one of the best 53 players on the team if next year the Titans were to bring in a real backup quarterback. I hear what you're saying about the competent offensive coordinator, but I want to make a comparison here. Because the New England Patriots don't even have an offensive coordinator. They have Matt Patricia, who's a defensive coach, and he's got his own problems, right?
Uh-huh.
Bailey Zappi, the comparison between the two. Completion percentage, Bailey Zappi 70.7, Malik Willis 50.8. Touchdowns, Bailey Zappi 5, Malik Willis 0. Interceptions, Bailey Zappi 3, Malik Willis 3. Attempts, Bailey Zappi has 31 more attempts than Malik Willis. So in 31 more attempts, they've thrown the same amount of interceptions. Quarterback rating, Bailey Zappi 100.9, Malik Willis 42.8. And so he's literally worse at everything than Bailey Zappi. He was picked 51 picks ahead of Bailey Zappi, and Bailey Zappi, I think you can argue, has just as incompetent of an offensive coaching staff in front of him in New England as Malik has here. And
that's totally fair. But I never expected Malik Willis to come in and be a competent quarterback this year. The Titans made up their mind when they made Malik Willis the backup quarterback that they thought he was good enough to get by. And I disagreed with that decision. And I didn't watch any Western Kentucky football. I didn't know what Bailey Zappi was going into the NFL. I didn't know if he was a more refined quarterback than Malik Willis was. I probably can assume he probably wasn't, considering Malik Willis was getting first-round hype, and I don't believe Bailey Zappi was getting any first-round hype. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I didn't think that Malik Willis was going to be ready to have a 100 quarterback rating this year anyway.
Here's what's crazy. just going back to all of it. Of the 5 rookie quarterbacks that have played a little bit, Kenny Pickett was taken 20th. Desmond Ridder was taken 74th. Malik Willis, 86. Bailey Zappi, 137. Brock Purdy, 262. Of that group, quarterback rating, Kenny Pickett at 20, 75.7. Desmond Ridder, 73.8. Bailey Zappi, 100.9. Brock Purdy, 103.3. Malik Willis, 42.8.
Yeah, no, it's not great. And I'm not disputing that he's not a very good quarterback. I'm not disputing that he is ready to be a starter in this league. I'm with you. I'm watching the same games. It doesn't look great. But all I'm saying is, I mean, if you drafted him in the 3rd round, you don't owe him anything. He doesn't need to be your starter. But I don't think anyone feels confident that they have a competent offensive coaching staff at this point.
I think what's going to happen, I think they're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator at the end of this year because I don't think they have a choice. I don't think Vrabel, the negativity is so strong with Todd Downing. I mean, Todd Downing's press conference today, he looked like a man who had been through it, and he just looked so just tail between his legs the entire time. And so I think they're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator. I think Malik's going to get cut in training camp. I think it's going to be like Kellen Mond with the Vikings last year where, a new offensive coordinator is going to come in. He's going to hold a press conference. He's going to be asked about Malik. He's going to say, yeah, I'm really excited to get the opportunity to work with Malik. We were really fascinated by him at the Buccaneers or wherever the hell the Titans get this offensive coordinator from. Yeah, we really looked at him. Obviously, we weren't in the market for a quarterback, but we were really excited. So I'm really excited to work with him. Malik's going to open up camp as the 2 or the 3. And by about the 3rd or 4th preseason game, you'll know, and then they'll cut him, and he will not be on the Titans next year, and maybe he comes back on the practice squad. And I would say this. If you called the New England Patriots today and you offered Malik Willis straight up for Bailey Zappi, would they say yes?
No.
Think about that. Why do I have to give this guy time? Everybody's like, you got to see more, you got to see more. We've seen it. He stinks. He's not getting better. And I understand Trevor saying, they need to run a college offense for Malik. Well, if I have to run a college offense for you,
you're not going to win very many games.
Right. You can't be a backup quarterback where I spend all week designing a game plan for Tannehill. He gets hurt. Now we got to bring in the college offense. Can't do that in this league. So I keep wondering, how long should Malik get? I am out. I am at 0%. I think there is no way Malik Willis can play in this league. And if I never saw Malik Willis play another down, I wouldn't be upset about it. Ian, how long do you think Malik Willis should get? How long until you make an official determination on him? And again, just for comparison's sake, Joe Rexroad has Malik Willis at 20% to become a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL.
Are you talking about for the Titans or for his career? Because if I'm the Titans, I think I'd give him through training camp next year. And if you don't feel like he can be the backup, then you probably move on and maybe see if you can sneak him to the practice squad. Mm-hmm. I'd give him through the training. I'd give him through training camp, see how he does, to see if he could still make a run at a backup spot. But as far as his career, you gotta give. I'd give him another season or two and see.
Do you guys think if you waived Malik Willis today that he would get claimed by another team?
On somebody's 53 roster, active? Yes. No.
I don't know.
Let me put it to you like this. Would you claim him?
I've seen enough. But I do find it hilarious that, not even a year ago, we were talking about Malik Willis being a top 10 quarterback in the draft, or top 10 pick in this year's draft.
Jordan Reed at ESPN, I think they're grooming him to one day take over when Mel Kiper Jr. retires. Jordan Reed had Malik Willis at number 2 to the Lions in a mock draft.
Yeah. And I understand, same way that I feel, I think the way that a lot of people feel about Malik Willis, that he's not the future. Can you imagine if the Titans did take him in the first round? Can you imagine if any team did take him in the first round? Because at least the Titans can fall back on, he was a 3rd-round pick. No harm, no foul.
Sure. It's like all the people that are mad at Robinson because they didn't have a better backup behind him. Well, I mean, if Vrabel and Ryan Cowden thought that it was so egregious to have Malik as the backup, they would have gone out and gotten a backup quarterback after Robinson got fired. I mean, you remember, Caroline, the trade deadline was, I believe, the week in between the Houston and the Kansas City game, and I was like, please trade for a backup quarterback. Please get a backup quarterback. But nobody listens. So there you go. That's the question. 615-737-1025. How much longer does Malik get? How much more of this do you need to watch before you've decided he's not taking steps to get better and that you give up on any hope of Malik Willis being not only a legitimate starter in this league, but maybe even a legitimate backup? 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Joe Rex Road 20% on Malik Willis. Goodness gracious. Coming up next, not only that, but where do the Titans, as far as culpability is concerned, where are they in Malik's development? We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
It's Family Leisure's half-off after Christmas sale.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discontinued merchandise.
Theater seating with two-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Hundreds of full tables in stock for immediate delivery. Slate full tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Above ground pools are all on sale with 24-foot starting at only $29.99 installed.
Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
Antioch and Franklin.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. We're your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takahouchi dealer. As 2022 comes to a close, we want to thank our many customers. You can rent or purchase excavators, mini excavators, track loaders, and more through Parman. Gift yourself or business a new or used Link Belt or Takahouchi machine. Visit ParmanTractor.com or come see us at 3570 Dickerson Pike, Nashville, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takahouchi dealer. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Parman employee-owned family to yours.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and you can start NFL Week 17 off the right way with NFL Same Game Parlay Insurance from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your 4+ leg Thursday night Same Game Parlay falls one leg short. NFL Same Game Parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. The Titans and the Cowboys, I'll go with the Cowboys on the money line. Titans really have been struggling lately. I'll go with CeeDee Lamb as an anytime touchdown scorer. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Build your own or choose from one of the popular Same Game Parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a same-game parlay. All you have to do is sign up with promo code ROB if you don't already have an account. If you do already have FanDuel, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you've got. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. A max free bet of $25. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
After seeing the film, what are the areas where Malik absolutely has to be better to give you a chance to win this week or beyond?
Well, I think this overall just comfort level, being quicker with progressions, not holding on, not waiting things out, knowing that you don't have all day, being good operationally. Thought he made some good decisions, some really good decisions to pull, when to give it, extend. I thought when he was decisive, was able to get to some guys. Unfortunately, Chig, put the one on the ground and dropped it, but he got to Bobby and got to Nick on, third and long, and was able to get to Woods and in his zone. So, there were some things there that were good, but then obviously just want to continue to progress.
There you go. That was Vrabel with a non-answer. Where does he need to get better at? And Vrabel basically told you the 5 plays he thought Malik played well on Saturday. So, again, my question is, how much longer do we have to watch this? How much longer till the Titans wave the white flag on Malik Willis's career? And I did actually look at the text line.
Don't be dramatic.
I mean, let me tell you something. You know my theory about how I would start Josh Dobbs in Week 18 against Jacksonville? That I've already made up my mind. That Malik plays against the Cowboys, and unless Malik looks like a quarterback against the Cowboys, and we know he's not going to, then Josh Dobbs is the starting quarterback against the Jacksonville Jags Week 18 for the playoffs.
Yes.
You do realize that if the Titans do that, that's the end for Malik. Like, that is you've lost him at that point. For you?
I mean, yeah, career with the Titans, maybe. Career for period. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, he could go learn how to play quarterback and then show up somewhere else. But if you cut him, you're giving up on him, you're giving up on him, basically.
Well, if you cut him, yes, of course.
Yeah. So, and I don't think Malik will be on the team next season. I think they'll get to training camp, and there'll be another backup quarterback, a real backup quarterback, and Tannehill, I think, will be the starter. And the real backup quarterback will win the job by the first preseason game, and Malik will be cut right there at the end when they cut down the rosters, and they'll try to maybe sneak him through the practice squad or Taysom Hill him or something. But, again, I'm ready. I'm waving the flag on Malik's career. I'm ready and rocking and rolling. I was looking through the text line, and I saw one person said, Malik will be the quarterback next season for the Titans. And I saw the next person said, he might be practice squad at best. He's trash. And I'm like, how is it possible that we can have that big of a gap in terms of the opinions on a quarterback? That we can say he might be a practice squad guy, and the next guy says he's going to be the starter next year. It's like, let's use Tannehill as an example. Does anybody think Tannehill's a practice squad guy? No. Everybody knows Ryan Tannehill is one of the best 18, 19 quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, is he the 13th best quarterback? Is he the 18th best quarterback? Bob and I got into an argument about Derek Carr, off the air, about Derek Carr or Ryan Tannehill. That's minutia, but they're both starters, and everybody knows that. How can we have this gap where one guy thinks starter next season, the next guy thinks practice squad? I've never seen this before.
But I think it's the same kind of thing with Tannehill. Not necessarily starter and practice squad, but let's go back to, February of this year when there were some people saying, Ryan Tannehill needs to go. Ryan Tannehill should be gone. And there were some people saying, no, Tannehill can get you to a Super Bowl. It's the same kind of thing. And with John Robinson, a more recent example, there were some people saying John Robinson should have gone. Good riddance. He's done nothing but bad things to this organization. And some of us saying, hey, I don't think right now was the right time. I don't think it was that bad.
And see, here's the difference, though, between that, is that, using the comparison of Robinson. John Robinson, in his first draft, drafted 3 All-Pros in the first, second, and third round. 3 All-Pros right off the bat. That would be like if Malik Willis's first start against the Texans, instead of having 5 completions, he had 5 touchdown passes. Then at least we could look at that game and say, see, in this, Malik showed us in this game that he's got potential to do something. He has not shown us anything. He didn't show it in the preseason. He didn't show it in the Texan game. He certainly didn't show it in the Chief game. I mean, I thought the Chief game, all things considered, was his best game, where he dropped that ball in Chris Conley's arms and Chris Conley dropped it, and he dropped the ball in somebody else's arms and they dropped it. Probably Robert Woods. I can't remember who it was that dropped it, but Robert Woods has dropped a lot of – Westbrook Akina dropped the ball on the sidelines. He had to jump back for it a little bit. I thought that was his best game by far. But that was a 6-completion game in which the team almost won in spite of him. There's not
also
anything
what Malik
possible.
Willis has that John Robbins didn't have is excuses of he's a rookie, he shouldn't have been playing anyway, it's only his first year. There are so many things that people can use to justify Malik Willis being a quarterback in this league that John Robinson didn't have. He didn't have those excuses like, oh, well, he was, his first year as a GM. You don't have that kind of excuse to fall back on.
Mm-hmm. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have in our text line on the Malik Willis? And again, Joe Rexrode, I am going to keep saying this because I think it is so stupid. Joe Rexrode says Malik Willis has a 20% chance to develop into a legitimate NFL starter. Does anybody else, by the way, want to take Joe up on his 20%?
No.
Okay.
I say 3. I'm standing by 3.
3. And I see, I'm mad at you for saying 3.
It's 3%.
Who would you rather have be the quarterback of the Titans? Malik Willis or Trace McSorley, the third stringer for Arizona on Sunday Night Football the other night?
Trace McSorley.
I don't even think it's close. I thought that at training camp when they both went against each other. I walked out of that thinking that Trace McSorley could be the backup to the Titans. What do we have in our text line?
Rob Texan says, Willis was a waste of a third-round pick when we needed O-line depth. Third round would have been great for multiple offensive line picks. I'm with you, Jared. After this season, he's just a waste of a roster spot.
So, I mean, I hate to break it to everybody out there that thinks that the Titans could have used the pick for Malik Willis and drafted, Orlando Pace with it. If you're a really good offensive lineman, you go within the first 18 picks of a draft. And so, as much as everybody says they could have used that for depth, I mean, I think you can get a guard in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. It's all the same. Is your scouting of offensive linemen good enough? And the scouting on offensive linemen around here has been terrible. So, to everybody out there that says, oh, could have used that third-round pick for the offensive line, used a third-round pick before Willis on the offensive line, and that guy stinks right now in Petit Ferrer. So, I don't think that it's like drafting Malik Willis. Everybody's making it out to be, because Malik Willis stinks, that they're making that out to be the fact that the risk the Titans took by using that pick was a terrible decision because it didn't work. I understood the risk when they made it, and I had no problem with it. Just like I was talking about the mistakes I feel like the Titans have made that have got them to rock bottom right now, which is where I think losing to the Texans 5 in a row and the way things are, where the Titans are going to get slaughtered by the Cowboys on Thursday night, I think this is rock bottom. And to me, it was all the common sense mistakes that the Titans made, whether it was drafting Caleb Farley fresh off of a back surgery, or trading for an injured old Julio Jones, or firing their general manager in the middle of the season, or not giving the ball to Derrick Henry on 3rd and 2, or all these things the Titans did that just lacked basic common sense, where Rex Ryan goes on television and tells you that you're stupid for not giving the ball to Derrick Henry on 3rd and 2. I did not view the A.J. Brown trade, even though it hasn't worked, or at least it hasn't worked yet. I do not view the A.J. Brown trade as a move that lacked common sense. I do not view the drafting of Malik Willis as one of those moves that just lacked common sense. I think making Malik Willis the backup lacked common sense, but I don't think drafting him is as bad as I feel like people are making it out to be.
I mean, it's like saying, you could say that about any draft pick. It's like saying picking Brady Breeze in the 6th round was a waste because you could have picked a 6th round, whatever else you needed, 6th round corner at that point. I mean,
sure,
you can say that for every single busted draft pick. I think really the only time when that's fair is in the 1st and 2nd round.
I also think it's fair when you draft at a position that you absolutely have no business drafting at. Like the Titans took a fullback in 2015. They were 2-14 in the 14th season, and in 2015 they took a fullback in the 4th round. And it was like, I mean, that guy better be Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah.
And he was not. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, would love to see what Malik Willis looks like with more than a 3rd-string offensive line and maybe more receivers than one competent guy who's a rookie.
So I keep going back to the quarterback rating, and I know it drives people crazy with this, but all those mistakes, all those excuses about the line and the receivers and the coordinator and everything, those are fair. But Ryan Tannehill's quarterback rating is in the 90s, and Malik's is 42.8. So, I mean, that to me is all those excuses, I get it. But if a legitimate starter is 90, then a guy who is a backup should probably be with those same problems in the 75 range. If he's a low-end backup, he should probably be in like the 65 range, and Malik is at 42.8. I mean, that's bad.
I mean, like, and nobody expected Malik Willis to be Ryan Tannehill. I sure as heck didn't, but that's bad.
If you want to use the line and the coordinator and the receivers as an issue, look at Tannehill's quarterback rating and compare it to Brock Purdy's 103.3. You know, that, if you want to say, like, as bad as Malik is, I don't think Brock Purdy is 60 points better than him. But he does have the infrastructure of receivers, a tight end, you know, and we're talking about great receivers, a great tight end, great running back, the best left
Great
tackle,
play caller.
Great play caller. You know, sat behind Jimmy G all year, so he was able to learn. Then again, Malik was able to learn from Tannehill. But that 42.8, I mean, guys, that 42.8 quarterback rating after 3 starts for Malik Willis is truly atrocious. Go look at any bad quarterback or any bad quarterback game. You do realize Ryan Tannehill's quarterback rating in the Bengals playoff games was in the 60s. And Malik Willis with not only 3 games under his belt, 3 starts, but also mop-up duty against Buffalo and Philadelphia where they let you throw the ball. Malik Willis is at 42.8. Malik Willis does not even have 300 passing yards on the season. And Malik Willis has not thrown 1 touchdown pass. I mean, I'm wondering if we put Derek Mason, if we took him off the midday show, and we put him at quarterback for 5 games, would he throw a touchdown pass? I think there's a chance he might.
I'll give it a 3% chance.
There you go. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phone, 615-737-1025. Plus, there's dueling reports about Ryan Tannehill. And speaking of dueling, Mike Vrabel has dueling comments about his feelings towards the team. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
TSA is hiring full and part-time transportation security officers at Nashville International Airport. These positions start at $20.29 per hour and include excellent federal benefits, paid on-the-job training, weekend and holiday pay, a potential pay raise after 6 months, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. No previous security experience required. Join a mission that matters and apply online at jobs.tsa.gov/TSO. That's jobs.tsa.gov/TSO. Some conditions apply.
Didn't get what you wanted for Christmas? Never fear. Hi-Fi Buy's legendary after Christmas sale is here. We're grossly overstocked and need to reduce inventory now. Most items are at or slightly above dealer cost. Make an offer. Any reasonable offer accepted. Stunningly low prices on high-performance products. Even better prices on high-end display models. Don't miss out. Hi-Fi Buy's legendary after Christmas sale is on now.
Retail store only. Manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
So many choices. Be careful. She is dangerously seductive. Tastes too good to be whiskey. Oil Fire Whiskey is now in Tennessee. If they don't have it, ask them to get it or go somewhere else. Oil Fire. There's nothing quite like it.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I said before, I coached against Malik when he was at Auburn. He was Jared Stidham's backup. When I viewed him going into the game, we kind of thought he was I called it a novelty quarterback. He was a specialty quarterback. Maybe had a little package for him. They somewhat used him as a wildcat. They got into unbalanced formation, snapped him the ball, and he did some running. He actually fumbled the ball when we played him at Mississippi State. He went to, obviously transferred to Liberty, and I've always said that a little bit, and I respect Coach Freeze tremendously because I've coached against him. His offenses are special. I don't know that's a great quarterback developing offense. Name a great quarterback who's gone on to great success in the NFL coming out of that spread, no huddle, tempo, everything kind of spoon-fed to your offense. Is it Bo Wallace? I don't think so. Chad Kelly, he's in the CFL, and Malik, those type of guys. I don't know that they have a lot of success.
That was Bob Shoop earlier today, Coach Shoop on the show, basically saying, I'm Malik Willis. Caroline, phones, or do you have a thought?
To the phones.
Phones. Rich is up next on Malik Willis. Thank you for waiting patiently. Go ahead, Rich.
Hey, how you doing? I just want to let you know there's a couple of qualities that a good quarterback needs, and one of them is the quarterback has to be very intelligent. And the other quality is he has to be a very quick thinker. He has to react within a split second. Now, case in point, when the Chiefs played the Titans, it was 3rd and 4th down the Titans had in their own end. Malik Willis took sacks on 3rd and 4th down. Now, what can you lose if you throw the ball downfield?
Now, in fairness, it
Instead
was
of
second
taking-
and third down, but yes, you're right.
He took sacks. That shows he's not a quick thinker. You got to throw the ball down the field when you're about to get sacked. You could get a pass interference call. Anything could happen. He took sacks. That told me so much about him with those two plays. And last thing, I've been watching football for 51 years. I never seen this happen until Malik Willis did it. And when it happened, you should have seen the disgust on Coach Vrabel's face. The team went off sides. So Malik had a free play. It was the game when Tannehill got hurt.
Game. I agree.
Excuse me?
Rich, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the intentional grounding Malik Willis got. Rich, good call. I appreciate your call. I have never seen, good call, Rich. I have never seen an intentional grounding on a free play in my entire life. I've never seen that. So I agree with the caller, and that was terrible. I go back to the 2-minute drills. Now, Caroline, you man the text line, so you see this more than I do. But when we would raise concerns about what we would see out of the Titans at practice in training camp, I feel like a lot of people just brushed it off like it didn't matter because they just said, oh, well, it's practice.
It's just practice.
It's just practice. They're scrimmaging against the Arizona Cardinals the last week of training camp. And they have a 2-minute drill. And Malik Willis throws an interception. And again, we're talking about the backups for Arizona, and it was really the third stringers for Arizona because Arizona was so injured that they canceled the second day of practice because they didn't have enough players to do 2 days of practice with the Titans. So Malik throws an interception on the first 2-minute drill. I think on first down they did nothing, second down they did nothing, third down they throw the interception. Then on fourth down, the second time around, Malik throws the ball away. Throws it away on fourth down in a 2-minute drill. Now, you all know how ridiculous that is. Well, I'm sorry, but if I'm John Robinson at the time, or if I'm Mike Vrabel and Ryan Cowden, I'm thinking, well, if I get in a game and he's my backup quarterback and we're down by 3 points and Tannehill gets concussed and they take him out of the game, now I have to put this guy in there who's throwing the ball away on fourth down. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? And all you have to go off of is what you've seen at practice. And yet they put him out there anyways. And the 2-minute drills, I mean, whether it's practice, whether it's the preseason, whether it was the Chiefs game in overtime, whether it was the Texans game last week, I have never seen worse 2-minute drills consistently than I have seen out of Malik Willis. I mean, that one against the Texans the other day was embarrassing, where Malik is throwing the ball, checking it down to the back for a gain of 8 yards when you've got to go 90 yards with no timeouts and a minute left. That was embarrassing. And I do agree with the caller that, Bill Belichick says the two most important things for a quarterback are decision-making and accuracy, and I'm not sure Malik Willis has either.
And I think that's what concerned me and probably a lot of people going into Malik Willis this year is he just doesn't have the awareness of the game that I think you kind of need a little bit of experience doing that, of reading defenses, of quick thinking whenever you do have a defender coming right at you wanting to bring you to the ground.
But do you need that in a 2-minute drill when you throw the ball away on fourth down?
And that's another thing, is there are some things that you just don't gain through experience. There are certain things that you just can't teach. And it doesn't matter if you have 1 game under your belt or 10 years under your belt. Sometimes you just don't have it.
Well, I've never seen a quarterback that's had 10 years in the league that throws the ball over the middle with no timeouts and 40 seconds to gain 6 yards.
I'm just using that as an example.
When Tony Romo calls a game and they're in a 2-minute drill, you hear Tony Romo all the time. Say, now they got to get up there. They got 9 seconds to spike it, Jim. They got to get a ball into the corner because if they don't, there's not going to be enough time to spike it. Because Tony's thinking about it like how it was when he played. Malik's like, here's the ball, gain of 3. All right, now we got to go 87 yards. Originally we had to go 90. Now we got to go 80. I've never seen that before. It's terrible. Drew's up next. Thank you for calling the program. What you got, Drew?
Hey, Jared. I just want to say I'm a fan from Louisville, so I've been following for a while. But
right on.
I have something to, shout out Bob and Nick Valvano. Something that I haven't heard anyone comment on is in the preseason, Tannehill said he basically wasn't going to mentor Willis. So we're talking about he hasn't learned, he doesn't know things that a vet knows, but the vet hasn't taught him anything, right?
Well, I would say that that's not really Tannehill's one. I don't think Tannehill said he wasn't going to mentor Malik. He said it wasn't his job, and if Malik learned stuff, great. And I thought it was totally unfair to Tannehill how taken out of context that was. That being said, it's not Tannehill's job to teach Malik. It was Tannehill's job to win the division for the Titans, and he got them pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, looking at it, now he's trying to rush back, and, I mean, it just doesn't seem like he's caring about anyone but himself. That's my 2 cents.
I appreciate your call, Drew. Let me say this about Tannehill. Of all the reasons why this Malik Willis thing is not going to work out, whether it's Malik, and Coach Shoup said that he thought that Malik was one of the people included in what Mike Vrabel said about guys not spending time away from the facility, working on that. I think of all the people that have probably failed Malik Willis, whether it's Malik and his preparation, whether it's John Robinson drafting him as high as he did, whether it's not having a backup quarterback for him, whether it's Mike Vrabel sticking him out there as much as he did, whatever it may be. I don't think Ryan Tannehill bears any guilt in what's happened with Malik Willis.
Nor should he.
I think Ryan Tannehill this year did everything asked of him other than maybe being able to tough it through the Kansas City game.
I'll go back to the comments that he made, that comments are around the world about it's not my job to mentor Malik Willis. And I agreed with him. I didn't think it was his job to mentor Malik Willis.
No.
And so I don't think that Malik Willis's development or lack thereof is because of Tannehill, because I never thought that was his cross to bear anyway.
I mean, look, I asked the question, and because it blew up so badly, I felt bad about it. Because I felt bad that Tannehill got thrown under the bus as far as he did.
I didn't think he meant anything bad by it.
No, I knew exactly what he said when he said it. I thought it was the least of the bad things Tannehill said that day, but it was the number one thing everybody talked about. Boy, Charlie Weiss got mad. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025.
One texter texts in and says, who would you rather have as a backup, Willis or Woodside?
Woodside. Anybody had a problem with that?
I mean, probably not, but Logan Woodside was pretty bad in preseason games too.
Ian, Willis or Woodside?
I mean, it's a little unfair because we've seen Willis now a little bit, so we're kind of working with some things that we probably didn't know preseason. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to get much worse than Willis at this point.
You know what was concerning to me? And I just thought about this. The fact that when Marcus decided to quit on the Falcons, that immediately Arthur Smith was like, Woodside.
Back up. Bring him in.
Yep. Like, it wasn't even a thought. It was like, okay, fine, Marcus, you want to be that way? Logan. And obviously, I think Arthur's a pretty good offensive coach. And so for Arthur to jump that quickly at Woodside, I think that was pretty telling. My gut tells me Arthur likes Logan, Vrabel doesn't. That's my gut. But hell, he beat out Trevor Siemian, and Trevor Siemian is a legitimate backup in this league. But Logan Woodside was terrible. So now I'm just talking in circles here. But I would go with Woodside over Willis as the backup quarterback. I wanted to go with Woodside over Willis when this all happened, and everybody yelled at me. Everybody told me I was crazy, even though I was the one that was going to training camp practices. And Logan was terrible in those, but still.
He was.
What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, why had no one gone back and watched Malik's college career? I did. It was so bad. Even the lack of good stuff on his highlight reel is telling.
So somebody who works in the SEC told me that I told him about Malik. I was texting him about Malik, and he said, I'll just read it to you, and I'll have to maybe edit some of this out on the fly. But we're talking about Malik and everything else. And he said, always was a physical freak. Could never read a defense or make decisions. Didn't have to at Auburn. I mean, Hugh Freeze made Bo Wallace look good and throw for 400 yards plus games. Don't have to do anything in that offense that remotely resembles what a quarterback has to do in the NFL. Dude has always been a little baby. We'll use that word. Dude has always been a little baby. He was at Auburn when he thought he was the man and wasn't playing. And he would go in and completely screw something up, and every time still thought he should be the starter. Not shocking. Make of that what you will.
Yikes.
I mean, look, I am not one to judge Malik's personality, although I thought that his comments about the stat sheet was ridiculous when he wasn't asked about stats. I thought that was ridiculous. I didn't like this is just football. We got an opportunity to get better. I didn't like that. And I didn't like, he was asked about the interception. And he was asked about it, and he was like, it was an interception, and just left it at that. Whereas, like, Tua went through all three of the interceptions and why they happened. And it's like it's not a state secret to say why you screwed up.
Right.
Tua's sitting up there telling everybody, yeah, the first one I tried to get the ball to the DB, over the DB's head. Instead, I threw it right to the DB. I screwed that up. The second one, I did this. The third one, I did that. It's not the end of the world there. Predators game day is coming up next. The Preds are back at home tonight against the Dallas Stars. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Bowl season is here.
Keeps his feet out of a tackle, and it's a race now.
Catch all the action right here at 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and 94.9 The Fan.
Down the middle, right on the money, touchdown.
All the big moments of bowl season are presented by Boomba's Craft Pizza and Tap House, Pizza, Beer, Sports, headquartered in East Nashville, and by Superbook Sports.
My goodness, look out.
Bowl season is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
One last night below freezing as temperatures drop to the upper 20s under partly cloudy skies. Much warmer for Wednesday. Partly cloudy, we'll see those highs top off in the low 50s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's Family Leisure's half-off after Christmas sale going on now.
Up to half off on floor models, scratch and dent, and discounted merchandise.
Enjoy the movie theater experience in the safety and comfort of your own home with theater seating from Family Leisure. Two-piece sets starting at only $6.99. Three-piece sets are only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $9.99 as well.
Family Leisure has air hockey and foosball tables in stock and on sale starting at just $1.99.
Family Leisure has 30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $7.99. Slate pool tables starting at just $14.99 installed.
Shovelboard tables from only $19.99.
Family Leisure is introducing our above-ground pool sales now. 24-foot above-ground pools start at only $29.99 installed.
That's Family Leisure's up to half off after Christmas sale going on now.
At both huge locations, Antioch and Franklin. Where family and fun come together.
The great Persian poet Rumi once said, either bring me more wine or leave me alone. Truly a wise man if you ask me. When it comes to wine this holiday season, the only place I'll be jingling my cowbells is Red Spirits and Wine. Red's simply got the coolest selection, the best prices, and a holly jolly crew that's always friendly and makes great recommendations without ever acting like some of those pontificating snooty toots that you run into at a lot of places. I love the wine so much at Red that I sometimes forget to mention all of the great Red Barrel Select bourbons, single malt scotches, tequila, mezcal. Heck, Red's got it all to lift your spirits. Not to mention an awesome 16-tap beer growler station and 3 nice cigar humidors where you can lasso up some of the finest smokes. Red Spirits and Wine is your one-stop shop for the holidays, and don't forget, Red's got gift cards too. Red Spirits and Wine is open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard.
The Nashville Jam Company is already a super popular weekend breakfast and brunch destination. But with summer over, it's time to put the beach body away for a while. So for fall, they've expanded their offerings and added what they call the Meat and 3 menu. Yeah, cool weather and Southern comfort food go hand in hand. And the stars of this show are the hefty meatloaf, Southern fried catfish, slow-cooked pot roast, fried chicken, Salisbury steak, and a slew of other rib, stick, and delicacies. And they have salads, too, if you're into that kind of thing. Come see the new menu Monday through Friday from 10:30 till 2.
You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Buying or selling, or even thinking about buying or selling, talk to TJ Anderson. He's my realtor. TJ has taken care of 2 homes for me and done even more for my friends. I have no hesitation when referring them to him and his wonderful staff. If you're looking to sell your property free and clear, ask TJ how he's having success marketing those properties. That's TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, TJAndersonHomes.com. Predators tonight against the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars are 29-6, and that's good for first place with 46 points in the Central Division. The Predators are 14-13-5. That is good for 33 points. We start with the coach's take, John Hines, on the Dallas Stars.
I think you got to give Dallas a lot of credit. I thought that they came out and played really well, and we weren't at our best. And I think what we saw from them is, I think, who they are. Obviously, from them, they've had a really good season to date and playing good hockey. So, we got to be at our best tonight, and that's one area that we certainly have to be better at tonight.
Now, I'm disappointed. I don't have all my stats. Katie did not send the picture out like we're used to. So, make of that what you will.
Katie.
You know what? I mean, all we're asking for is our little, comic book picture. Yes.
All you are asking for, not we.
Taking a look at the standings here for the Predators, since Hal Gill got mad that I kept using percentage of making the playoffs. The Predators right now in the Central Division are not in a good place. 6th place right now in the Central Division with 33 points. That's 1 behind the Blues, though they do have 2 games in hand. That is 7 points behind Minnesota and Colorado. And I don't even want to get into Dallas and Winnipeg, who made big changes this offseason and have become what they are. Final thought presented by TJ Anderson Homes and Benchmark Realty. If you guys are for real, like Willie keeps saying on the midday show, they're going to turn it around. They got plenty of time. You're going to do it against the best in the division. That's Dallas tonight. That's it for us. We're out of here. Stillman and Company. We'll be back. We'll see you tomorrow at 2. Max Hers is up next with the pregame show.